Super Saturday continues on Fox Footy at Marvel Stadium with a day of opportunity for St Kilda to claim win number 3 and get back in the fight for the 8, and for North Melbourne to try and break through for the first time in season 2024. Great to have alongside me Dwayne Russell, Nathan Buckley and Jason Dunstall. And Jace, this is a stronger looking St Kilda side on the back of 4 changes.
It is. Good afternoon, Hutto. A team that's desperately trying to stay in the race for the 8. They need to build some momentum. Well, they get a great opportunity. They're big ins. Max King, the spearhead up forward. Mason Wood, who only played a couple of games this year before being struck down by injury. Jimmy Webster, his first game of the season after a long suspension. And Jack Hayes is a man we haven't seen for a long time who showed some great promise a while ago. Bucks.
Yeah, I think all of those ins will be sights for sore eyes for the St Kilda fans. I think they'll all play an important role and go closer towards being at their best. We see just in the screen there where Webster was able to catch Simpkin. Ironic that he comes in against that team today.
So do the players make any mention of that if they cross paths out there, Buck?
Oh, look, I reckon Al Clarkson might just hold his tongue. I don't think there'll be any conversation going that way. But look, both of these teams will be aware of it. But and maybe that might count for 2 or 3% of energy that comes their way. But North Melbourne need to find something. They want to find a higher level that they've been able to display. St Kilda have had a lot of close losses against good opposition, but I think their level needs to increase, and they'd expect to be a lot better than they're playing at the moment.
All right, there are the changes for the Kangaroos. Interesting that Toby Pink has made the sub as one of their inclusions this afternoon. Well, a man who played for both clubs and with great distinction is Nick Del Santo and his boundary side today. Afternoon to you, Del.
A very good afternoon to you too, Hutto. And both teams coming here today, you would have to think that they are a realistic opportunity to get that 4 points. Kangas yet to get a victory this year. Saints have played some poor football over the last 3 weeks. So you look to this game and what the key factor is. We always tend to go to the midfield, and we will one more time. Their ability to get that ball from clearance, to take yardage, get the ball in the front half, to force the opposition to then go the length of the field on turnover to try and score. We look at this young man, Jack Sinclair. He's been a star, a couple of times All-Australian. You look at today's game, you think you've got to have your best players in the most dominant position, and that's midfield. He's their best ball user. He makes great decisions, and I wouldn't be shocked if Jack Sinclair is in the middle. And also for the Kangas, Harry Sheasel, I hear, is a little whisper, who'll play some more midfield time. We know he racks up the football, but he may need to do it through the middle of the ground, a post or half-back flank. So a couple of key plays in today's game.
Yeah, Dwayne and Bucks, hasn't that been a topic of conversation with Harry Sheasel?
It has, and something tells me that Jack Sinclair might play in the middle if Dale's running with it before the game.
What are we looking for this afternoon, Dwayne?
Well, an improved effort from both teams, really. St Kilda, at the moment, 2 wins, 5 losses. North Melbourne obviously haven't had a win this season. St Kilda finalists last year. There's so much scope for both these teams. With a ton of season left, Luke McDonald wins the toss, and North Melbourne will kick to the right of screen in this opening term. North, with Alistair Clarkson, who talked about second season as coach for Alistair Clarkson, but have shown signs this year, despite the fact they haven't won a game, and showed signs last year that they've got a good young crop coming through, and the Saints with a huge upside if they can get their game going. As we head to our ground announcer, as we continue the fight against violence against women.
On behalf of everyone across the AFL industry, if you are able, please rise as we pay tribute to the women whose lives have been tragically cut short due to violence. The football world is united as we come together to say enough is enough, and this must stop. Behind every death is a woman who lived and who was loved. When it comes to violence against women, the only acceptable figure is 0. We remember all the women who have been killed in gender-based violence and stand in solidarity in committing to doing more to stop this community-wide problem. Please pause for a moment as we pay our respects and join in a silent tribute to those women who have lost their lives. Thank you.
So powerful symbolism now. It is about action. The players break and get ready for their own set of actions this afternoon at Marvel Stadium. Ross Lyon and Alistair Clarkson, two doyens of coaches going head-to-head. They've tasted success, unfortunately for Ross. Not quite the ultimate, has come so close. But Alistair Clarkson finding out what it's like at the other end, which is where he started his career all those years ago at Hawthorn.
Yeah, well, these two were combatants in, well, those two coaches combatants in the 2013 grand final, but now at different clubs with different challenges. And I'm sure, as I said, I think Ross has done relatively well. But St Kilda, to be as competitive as they have against close opposition, Geelong 8 points, Port Adelaide 10 points, GWS 1 point, Essendon 4 points. You know, but near enough isn't good enough. They've got to raise their level, and maybe the ends today could be the difference.
4 teenagers for the Saints, 5 for the Roos. Plenty of young talent on both lists. And we continue to watch with fascination how it all comes together at one end of the ground. Nick Larkey, Dougal Howard back in the team last week at the other. Max King also returning from injury.
Yeah, Aidan Corr gets the job on Max King, and he's got to fancy his chances of getting some good supply today, Max King, and hitting the scoreboard.
Could this be the day for North Melbourne, or will it be the Saints returning to the winners list? Terry up in the middle against Marshall, and the pack collapses. And we go nowhere initially.
Look forward to that matchup. Cherry's been excellent for North, and Marshall has an outstanding couple of years for St Kilda.
Yes, the follow-up with both ruckmen, isn't it, really? Cherry getting it down to ground, but no further again. Seems to be the intent in the opening 20 seconds. Cherry just lays that off, and Davies-Uniacke uses his great skill to break clear. A dump kick to half forward. Larkey's come up to meet it. Howard right there with him. And it was always going to go dripping over the line and out of bounds.
He's an amazing player, Nick Larkey, isn't he? The way that he can thrive in such a barren environment up forward at times. You wonder what he might be able to do if he was playing in the top side, but he just continues to produce for North week in, week out.
Heading back toward the goal square, Nick Larkey, or not down to Sheasel, so he is playing midfield, and it might work. Larkey couldn't quite get on the end of it. Almost got a push in the back as well. Steele feeds it wide. Chip kick, Windhager, was that the required? It was. Wilson. They want the corridor if they can get it. He pulls the kick late. He's got Hayes. No arm chop. Yes, arm chop. Slightly delayed whistle.
Darcy Wilson's been a really positive aspect of St Kilda's season thus far.
First game for the season for Hayes. A lot of injury issues the last couple of years, and a bullet pass to Marshall on the march. Is he within range? He doesn't think he is. He goes with the pass. King almost, and then Owens almost. And then Owens dumped in the deck by Archer, who's his matchup. Straight back in and straight against Owens. Stevenson also back into North's lineup this week. He's been in and out like the tide the last 2 years, but he's back in today, trying to weed their way through trouble. Sheasel. Good dance step by Fisher. Sub last week. Archer's hand's not slick enough. McKercher got it out to Scott. North out of trouble, although it might be coming back with interest. Stocker fed it back. Wood also back into the lineup. Wilkie. And now the bomb. King got up there. Couldn't quite get onto it. Got the crumb, fed it out. Well read by Tucker. Not a lot forward of the ball. Zahar waits for the bounce. He could have gone and got it. He cleverly waited for the bounce. Howard corralled him, went long, one-on-one ahead of the ball. Larkey, or 2 to beat now. Marshall got back to help out Wilkie.
He lent him a hand and now gives it off to Hill. And he saw a way at least across half-back, and now Windhager can take them forward. Sinclair, he was anticipating well. And from that city wing, he goes searching for King. Is it a push or is it a mark? It's a push. Looking straight to the scoreboard to see whether he agrees with the umpire's interpretation.
The second effort to take the pluck was pretty impressive, but
Corr, who is his opponent today, put his faith in Tucker, being tagged by Hasty. Drury, very wide kick, and Howard had the choice probably in the end between the mark or free kick. He hugs in the chest mark and then eyes initially to the centre, but prepared to play it back through Wilkie.
Been a bit of a whipping boy, Howard, at times. St Kilda fan base. Stocker heads wide, battle, chip kick. Marshall on the move. Well, he was, but he tries not to move. There's no one on the mark, so he's got 10 metres of freedom if he wants it. Pokes the pass cleverly. Hill. Inside kick to Steele. Looks good. He took a netball step and then backpedaled. Goes inside with the kick. And Windhager plays on like the wind. Straight past them. Behind.
Ross Lyon spoke last week about getting their midfielders forward of the play so that the back six could do work in greater space. They've improved their ball movement. You could see then how much space their defenders had to move the ball, which created that opportunity for Windhager.
McKercher, 32 disposals last week. There's a good chunk of those that were kick-ins, and he was able to safely land it on that occasion. Back with Sheasel, who really spears the kick, and it gave the Saints through Battle, who was thinking a step ahead. Off to Sinclair, a little bit of a rush of blood. Battle, who has played some footy forward in his time, so he does know where they are, but getting it there was another thing. And it's another behind to the Saints.
Well, we touched on that midfield battle pre-game, so it's Marcus Windhager who's going to go to Sheasel, and Jack Steele is taking responsibility for Luke Davies-Uniacke, who had a monster game this time last year. 33 disposals, 23 of those were contested, so a lot of work going into LDU.
And this will be good for the development of Sheasel. He's in the midfield, he's got a man on him, so probably the development phase that we needed to see. Simpkin hasn't quite been the same since the Webster bump. Hasn't been in good form this year. Couldn't get away with it there. Marshall does. And Wilson gets on the end of his short pass. I'm not sure it was intended initially for Darcy Wilson, but he made it his.
They just can't manage the football at the moment, North Melbourne. You have a look at possessions, they're clearly in St Kilda's favour, but the marks are 14-1. The only mark that North Melbourne's taken was from a short chip after a behind had been scored and the kick-out found a target. St Kilda dominating possession, but also maintaining possession and finding targets.
A lot of talk about not being able to talk about weights this year, but Darcy Wilson did admit he put on 9 kilo and added speed in the summer of work that he put into himself pre-draft to make sure he was ready for the big time instantly. And he looks it.
Yeah, he's been a great find for the Saints. His run up and down that wing has been one of the most consistent parts of the Saints season to date, and he's been a terrific addition to the team, and he's been able to find the scoreboard as well. Kicking goals late primarily with his run, but off the fat side wing here, being able to cut across, take the chesty from the Ryan Marshall kick.
Picked a couple of behinds last week, 21 disposals, and with a couple of players on their injury or suspension list, particularly the absence of Jack Higgins and also Dan Butler, they're going to need some smalls to play their part this afternoon for the Saints.
They're getting a lot of run, though. I mean, we know what Brad Hill offers, and then you've got Wanganeen-Milera, who's a terrific runner. Now you add Darcy Wilson to the mix, building some leg speed.
Sherry found the ball and found a way to get it inside 50. Wardlaw, already a Roos favourite, and growing in that status every week. Gets the hair ruffled. It wasn't exactly perfectly combed beforehand.
It's a good finish, though. I mean, the last time they came forward, it was a Nick Larkey contest. The ball was spoilt and there was no one at ground level. St Kilda had 3-on-1. That time they got numbers front, and when you hit it, when you hit that crumb at full pace, you're very hard to stop. He hits this at pace, reads it beautifully, handles it cleanly, and that's a great finish.
And Seb Ross's direct opponent only needs to be a step or two off. Yep. We saw it with Nick Dacos and Sam Walsh late last night. You only need to be ball watching for an instant. But North Melbourne at the moment, no clean possessions or change going forward, but kicks to contest are prevalent.
Still hasn't played in a win.
There's a few that have had lean times at North. No wins yet this season, but they started well. Wardlaw was given a rest a couple of weeks ago, and he probably better for it. Simpkin, LDU, Sherry. Good ball, McKercher. Oh, the young guns, Scott, Fisher, Tucker. This is the money kick, though. It's a pretty good spot with it. The Saints have players back, with Mark Tuckenbold-Wood back into the lineup, and one of their stars that has strengthened this lineup this week compared to last.
Played every game last year for the first time. Mason Wood made the wing his own. Great to see after all those years. And of course, he is a former Kangaroo in Mason Wood. And
North fans remember, Hutto?
Jimmy Webster, they certainly haven't forgotten that. Was a little more recent. His incident, as we saw with Jai Simpkin in the pre-season. So I suspect that will be prolonged all day. Wardlaw the focus here of the Hill tackle. He did well to drag him to the ground without causing any danger.
What happened to making an effort, Bucks? He's just hanging onto that with one arm, knowing that he'll get a stoppage.
It's not in the rule book, is it? Or is it?
Well, you might discuss that later, but let's just concentrate on the footy for now.
This is footy.
8-6 is the early score. Bonner tosses it up. Kangaroos pretty well structured. King trying to get around Comden, but Core is back there to take the mark for the Roos, and they're going to go in a considered fashion on the way out this time.
Never hold up a good Nathan Buckley editorial. Hello, he was ready to load there, I think.
We'll get back to it, don't worry.
Hardiman out wide. McKercher had plenty of it early, and Larkey comes up to the wing and held it long enough. He put it into grass. Umpire cut him some slack. Little fake, then he gave it. They like it in McKercher's hands. He finds Sheasel. They love it in his hands. Zerha got there and got there again. And he lets Wilkie know.
Cameron, go back.
He's a talented player, Cam Zerha. He's very combative, wins contests, and he can bring the type of energy that could lift this side. I just haven't seen it consistently enough this year, but those sort of efforts, that contested mark in amongst that pack, that gives confidence to the midfielders to go forward.
Kick goals last week, 3 of them. 3-3 last week. And that's a bullet straight through the middle. Great start, North.
It's a great result for North, given that it was Nick Larkey up on the wing that took the mark and then played on and didn't quite know where to go. He drew an opponent, fashioned out a hand pass, and then they were able to get a couple of short kicks in. And I thought Sheasel would look for a little target, given he didn't have Larkey down there, but he saw Zerha signalling he wanted it long. Then it was his responsibility to make the contest, and he did, 1 against 2.
Well, they had to even numbers, and Sheasel probably identified that, saw Zerha over the back by 5 metres. Wardlaw's actually at the front of this pack again, on his own. A midfielder who's gone forward to create the outnumber. So I'm sure Ross Lyon, the coaching staff at St Kilda, will be keeping an eye on that if their midfielders are being beaten to the ground ball in their D50.
8 goals, 8 now in his 7th game for the season, Cam Zerha. After the tangle in the middle, it's Wardlaw again with first hands on it. Power, just the shovel out to Davies-Uniacke. Lucky trying to get around Howard, and they both went to ground. Webster will apply the tackle, and it will be rewarded. There's St. Joysma.
He used his body well, Larky, but he went too far. He worked Howard under the footy, but took himself under it as well.
Cue the boos. Oh, well, I love that. The Kangaroo fans will be thanking him for that.
And look who went straight over there. Jai Simpkin just happened to be the closest player to him after that error and went straight over to tell him about it.
We spoke before the game about would it be a talking point. I think it's definitely a source. It would be a source of energy for North. If you want to fight back, you want to fight back for your skipper and someone that was on the receiving end of that bump.
What better way to give it to him than go back and kick the 3rd straight goal of the afternoon? And he has been one of the real positives out of this year, Tom Powell. He kicks his 5th goal for the season, and the Kangaroos suddenly lead by 10. And Jimmy Webster won't forget this one easily.
It was a tough one to bite off to start with. There were 3 North players there, and he was trying to find the lone St Kilda player in amongst them. It needed to be absolutely perfect, probably a risk he'd love to take back, but the finish is the important thing. You've been watching a bit of Tom Powell. He's been pretty consistent apart from a couple of quiet ones, Bucks.
Yeah, he started the year on fire and with legitimate midfield time, more midfield time, and has had some really strong games, averaging about 24, 25 touches a game. Had a couple of quiet ones, but has been a consistent part of North's midfield in good form.
Had a bit less time in the midfield, didn't he, last week? And interesting, he's been the equal 2nd highest rated player this year.
2 second rucks in the middle, and the umpire doesn't like his work.
Just a little thing. Darcy Wilson was a St Kilda player that got across to Webster. There was a couple of backs that went to him, but Wilson went 50 metres just to give him a bit of support. Great to see that from a young player.
Larkey and Hayes. Larkey held his ground, didn't jump, and comes up with it. Little tap, gets it back, gave it back. Windhager. Simpkin against the grain. Wardlaw, slick. Fisher Hardiman. McDonald out wide. And Webster gets a round of applause.
Might go for a safer option this time, I think.
From the Saints fans.
Oh, no.
He's floated that a bit. Powell! Nearly crushed. Umpire said the steal got all ball. Wardlaw just came up with ball. Strength to Sheasel, to Larkey. Heads out wide. Had a couple of options and nicely delivered to Scott.
He has the mark. He's scoping out the forward 50. There is a little channel to send it to. The defenders are able to fill up with Wood, but Wardlaw already has one under his belt. It's trying. And it's away to the left, so opportunity missed. But there's a different feel and energy about this North Melbourne team all of a sudden.
And it's starting in the midfield, Hutto. Clearances 6-1 and 4-0 out of centre square bounce on behalf of the Kangaroos. They've been superb around the source.
Do you like Nick Lucky? We saw it last week going up into the ruck for a few goes.
Well, we saw that a little bit with Mycheck taking Wiedering up and smaller targets inside forward 50, and I think that's the tactic here again. But Dal just mentioned the midfielders here. Woodlaw's had 3 ground balls across attacking mid in front of his direct opponent.
Love the confidence from Jimmy Weston. I mean, he got attacked after that first turnover, cost a goal. I thought he'd be very conservative after that. He tried to peel off another kick into the corridor.
Sheasel got some class. Danced inside. Wants the 1-2 with Shields. Got it back. And he might hit the target. Tucker, no. Stocker read his eyes. And he horribly turns it over. Dersma. Wardlaw's had a couple of siders and he misses this one to the near side. Wow, they're taking it on, the Saints.
He could have 3 to his name, Wardlaw, very easily.
And Damien Hardwick coined the Scheisenhausen goals last week. I think Ross might be using his pen on that marker for that stat at the moment.
Yeah, Champion have announced they are going to keep them from now on.
You can't coach that.
Wood. Wanganeen-Milera.
Outside 5.
The Saints forwards haven't had much to see for the last 10 minutes.
Moving along. Play on. Play on.
Played exclusively at North's End. We've seen some dicey kicks on the way out. This man they have trust in. He puts length on the kick, but it's coming back Convent. His confidence growing every week.
He's been a good find down back, hasn't he? Backs himself, takes contested intercept marks.
Kangaroos have only won 4 quarters, 1 of each so far this year. They've been in front once at quarter time and once at half time. Really positive start for them. Drury sends them inside again, but not beyond Howard on this occasion.
See if he bites off the corridor here. He wants it, he gives it. Webster gets it from the crowd. Stocker. And here they go down the corridor. Sinclair, they fan for him left and right. He goes longer behind Membris. Never can get it. Little tap. Filippo. Taken to the line. Cleverly in the end by McDonald. He knew he was outnumbered and the ball in is a win. Yet to win a game, North. This is one of their best starts and it's a winnable contest and they can feel it right now. You can feel it in the house here, the 2 co-tenants head to head.
And Lucky used his body with good effect against Hayes. Windhager. Everyone had time to try and judge that. Marshall came crashing through. Very quick ball up call on that occasion. Garcia, who's a bit of a tackle machine for the Saints. Marshall had his way with Larkey that time, but squeezed out by McKercher. Windhager fed it back. Nice little touch through to Filippo from Wanganeen-Milera. King had a long way to reach down for it. Gave North time to put multiple tackles on. Windhager softly to Bonner, who is a long kick, but this might be a bridge too far. That's better. Oh, movement from Membry, but then couldn't latch onto it. She's all able to dump the handball with Tucker, and they're out for now at least. And the free kick is going which way? It's going back the way of the Saints to Wilkie.
Out wide, the battle. And 50 or hold, one of the 2. It's a hold on King downfield at full forward.
They've been going at it behind the ball, Core and King. Core got put on his backside about 45 seconds ago and was calling for a free kick, and it's like it may be a bit of a payback situation.
Does that go in that category as well, does it, for those goals?
Scheisen goal, yes, yeah. I would have thought so.
Does pressure cause them? Because just having King back adds a lot of pressure. Everyone knows he's a gun. 6-6 so far this year. Back in, and the return of the King is what the Saints fans are excited about.
It was great to see Max King back kicking goals, but when the team has started well, a team that's on the bottom searching for a win that they haven't seen for a long, long time, you can't be gifting opportunities like that to the opposition. You might have been on the receiving end, but you've got to bite your tongue. You've got to suck it up, Bucks, and you've just got to say, hey, I'll cop that, but you can't gift a goal like this.
Yeah, and if we're looking at it here, he actually just throws him to the ground, and you see top of screen. Yeah, King is meeting him to find the body and then push and find separation to make the lead. Core latches on and basically just slings him to the ground. And you're right, you cannot afford to be giving those type of off-the-ball free kicks away, especially when they're 20 metres out the front of goal.
Age of 23, Max King, hopefully moving into his absolute prime. That's a good run of continuity without the injuries. It's been a stop-start beginning to this season. Clearance dominance, as we said, with North Melbourne. This one, though, is going St Kilda's way. Hayes, the makeshift kick to half forward. Tucker prepared to take whatever contact was dished out and got through and out the other side. Impressively, the kick designed for Drury and Battle. And the Saint does enough to get it over and out. And all fans happy enough with young Drury's efforts. And we'll have a throw in.
Yeah, he's got high hopes. Alistair Clarkson for Drury. He took him overseas on a study trip. Harry Sheasel and a couple of others went over to see the Golden State Warriors and study overseas franchises. High hopes for Drury to grow as a player this year. Ball knocked out of the front. Wanganeen-Milera caught by Sherry in a bear hug.
I reckon that's the kind of study trip a lot of our viewers would like.
Bucks might take us over the end of this season, Hutto. Be a bit of fun for us all.
Not by his body language.
If I can get it funded like Clarko, I will.
Nice grab. It's another young gun, Hardiman, who looked good last week in his debut, and he finds the target straight off the bat here.
And again, it's the man you talked about, Blake Drury, 12 disposals, 4 inside 50s last week. High ball. Howard just got displaced. He had help from Wilkie. As you saw, no one was able to drag the mark down. Wilkie, though, knew exactly where the insurance was, and it was Howard shaping the kick around the corner. And Bonner, who is prone to the odd dangerous kick to the inside, but looks like he's going to be a little more careful. Keeps it in a relatively safe zone. Comben, the man left standing was Membry, so he had first play in it. Hardiman got there to apply the pressure, and they continue to restrict and constrict. That was Archer that time. Ross's handball to Sinclair, a couple of experienced Saints, sending them inside 50. Philippo, the initial juggling act, and now they converge all over McDonald. Drury to play his part through Core. And McKercher had help back in the goal square. Tucker, despite the lunge, also from a former Fremantle player, old teammate of his in Hill. And safely out of there for the Kangaroos, despite the smother. Archer, Comben, no panic, even though you feel like a turnover was imminent. They've got the clearing kick out of there from the co-captain McDonald. Sheasel, Wanganeen-Milera has gone to ground, and it was high according to the umpire. Not sure if
one of the bonuses of having Sheasel, even though he gave his free kick away in the midfield, is he gets a little bit of resting time as a forward. We know that in his junior career that he was very dangerous there and could finish from limited chances. So hopefully we see a little bit of that tonight.
And Hager launches it. Cherry from 4 deep, got a big set of knuckles on it and killed it to the boundary.
Drury has modern day skills. Like he's quick, he's fast, he's very clean. I think that he definitely could come on as a player when you look at his attributes. Playing as a small forward at the moment, tough position to play, but could grow into a midfield role.
4 games last year, pick 1 in the rookie draft of 2022.
And he grew to prominence as the ball kid for the Australian Open when he high-fived Novak Djokovic all those years ago as a little kid.
Not sure if Novak still talks about it. Sheasel back to Wardlaw. I'm sure Blake does. Back to the wing. Good contest there. Roos more than breaking even at the moment. Just fires the handball through. Sheasels wasn't perfect, and that allowed the Saints to close. From Wilson through Ross to Sinclair. Instinctive give, but there was no one there to receive. And so McCurchan, they can bounce again off half-back. Tucker biding his time until there was something more to his liking ahead. He kicked to the grass, and first there was Wilkie already into his turn. Sheasel did well, slowed them. Oh, that was almost a throw from Howard. Back to Wilkie by whatever means to get it out of there. Tucker has made a strong start to this game, but even he and his strength couldn't get past the tackler that time. Well defended by Mason Wood.
Well, he's had a very good start, Mason Wood. Had that severe injury and got knocked out in round 2 against the Pies. He's been dearly missed as he plays that wing role really well, integral to their setups.
Sinclair, 28 possessions last week to Hill. Well, tackled by Drury after Bonner marked it, but nothing came of it. And the leader from Hayes. The seas parted for him.
Yeah, all you're looking for is a little bit of composure by foot, and we saw it there. Brad Hill and then Riley Bonner just making good decisions and then executing, and it was a really good lead from Hayes coming from deep in the forward line, straight up the middle. There was a nice big hole there, ball out in front. We saw one only a few minutes ago that Membry couldn't hang on to. This time, Hayes gets the opportunity.
St Kilda pre-season list addition back in 2022, then did his ACL. But he can play forward, he can ruck, he can save Mitch Owens from having to do the ruck work, and he can kick a goal or two. He slotted it. Brilliant goal for Hayes, and Jack Hayes, they come from everywhere to celebrate his return to footy. It's not his first goal in AFL footy, but they're celebrating it like it is. That's how much his return is important to them.
Real contrast in styles in the two teams so far through this first quarter. North Melbourne wanting to run and carry by hands and prepared to kick long to the contest. St Kilda have had 37 uncontested marks already this game, wanting to change the angles and shift the defence, but to be able to get that ball to Jack Hayes, he's only played 7 games, but to have that sort of impact, he's struggled through his career with injuries, and good to see him get some reward.
He made a splash, of course, on debut when he kicked 3 goals against the Pies. And then, yeah, 5 or 6 weeks later did the ACL, and they honoured their idea that they would extend his contract to Saints, despite some troubles last year. He's back today. Hill, if anyone can weave through. Off to Sinclair, having more and more influence on this game as the opening term progresses. Archer under the thick of it, Phillippo on the top. There's Hardiman forcing his way through. And again, the Saints give away the free kick on this occasion.
Bit proppy, Jackson Archer, after that contest with Phillippo.
Yeah, he put himself in danger.
Yeah, very proppy, left leg.
And with the surname Archer, I don't think he's going to come off.
No, he's not down.
He's going to stay out there and try and battle through.
But he's limping.
Quick change of mind from Zach Fisher. He was going to switch. Now he goes where there's masses congregating on the wing, and there's another umpire involvement here. And free kick, even though it was Owen that was on the ground, it was Sherry. There's a shaped little kick from Sheasel, which doesn't behave itself as far as Drury was concerned. Crowd didn't have time enough to do Webster. There is Webster is actually helping the opposition to their feet. Meantime, the ball goes down to the Saints forward line. Condon has planned it. Garcia escorts to the boundary.
I think it was Hasty that caught one to the ear as well.
And there was William Shields.
Yeah. There's a bit in this and there's nothing in it. 20 apiece. Good opening term from both. Garcia through the traffic. Core gets it. They get him. Fisher, play on kick. Shields was close enough. Ball in. Good crowd. St Kilda home game. Saints have had a tough start to the season. Had a few short breaks. We talked about a lot. 2 wins, 5 losses coming into this round of footy. Chance to settle down and get some wins on the board. Sherry. North Melbourne looking strong to try and get a chance of the first win. Haven't been within 4 goals of any team at the Siren this year. Wanganeen-Milera. Shortish pass. Crunch. Players go down like 9 pins and almost knocked out deliberately by Steele.
Pulled out the full.
Did he knock it onto his foot? He knocked it onto Luke Davies-Uniacke's toe. Well, that was very clever. What does he do here? For those playing at home, what do you think you'd do here?
A long way out, too far for a banana, you'd think. Set up kick.
Set up kick it is. Marshall got there. Membry front spot.
It's predictable to Membry, but also should be to the defence to allow him to get the 2 or 3 metres free there. So that's a free opportunity out of nothing. But
it's a horrible decision, isn't it?
Membry's a player that St Kilda really need to get up and going. His trials at the end of last year seemed to be still sort of working through him, and that's a challenge, but free him up of that, and he adds a lot to this team.
Sorry, North fans, I won't check that on the way back to the middle if he kicks this goal, and he kicks the goal. He's got 13-4 this season, Tim Membry.
Well, he missed that one on the lead, but he makes sure of it second time around. Good clean hands, kicks the goal. It's interesting. I mean, we brought technology into the game to stop the howler decision, didn't we? This is a howler. There is no boot anywhere near it, but unfortunately, you've just got to live with it. But you're right, they had plenty of time, North, and that's just inexcusable defensively. They've got to be better than that.
Well, there's more congestion in that part of the field than there ever has been at any time in the history of the game.
Yet it was open right then.
So it was level with the suspended Jack Higgins. Hopefully from the Saints' point of view, Max King is going to be climbing that goal-kicking ladder at the Saints. Quick smart, 35 seconds left. A wayward kick from Luke Davies-Uniacke. Just plonked on the wing. Scott, Archer, and a whole host of Saints in the circle around. Force another draw.
Still a positive start from North. I mean, we know Aidan Corr gave away a goal for a lack of discipline. That one there was a fortunate one, so they're still right in this.
Mitch Owens still had to do some road work, Dwayne. As the ball goes to half forward, so it was nice in theory. Powell underneath all of that. So the last 10 minutes, the game has switched in momentum again to St Kilda's end. 10 seconds to go. Have to be the perfect play. Less likely now. Could really only be a St Kilda goal. Marshall is in the goal square.
Top 3 possession getters for North: McKercher, Sheasel, Wardlaw. There's a glimpse of the future.
And that will be the last kick of the opening term. Plenty happening, and you feel like there's a whole lot more to come. The Saints were able to just steady after being really challenged by North. They put 3 goals together at one stage, but the Saints were able to answer with 3 of their own. They have the lead at quarter time, 4-2-26 to 3-2-20. And there's plenty more great action to come your way tonight. What a clash, 2 of the real contenders, Melbourne and Geelong, doing battle on Fox Footy. And over on 503, can the improved Eagles, with the return of that man, cause an upset against the Bombers?
Fantastic to have your company on Fox Footy. Quarter time, Saints 4-2, North 3-2. 2 of the gun coaches in the competition. Ross Lyon and Alistair Clarkson head-to-head again this afternoon. Alistair Clarkson's second season as coach with North after 17 seasons and 4 premierships with the Hawks. Didn't coach every game last year for North, of course, but head-to-head against Ross Lyon in their various teams they've coached. It's 5-13, which is an interesting number. Ross hasn't quite had the premiership success, but second season as St Kilda coach, second time around, and 5 seasons, of course, and 3 grand finals and no flags. We head downstairs to Nick D'Alsato with him.
Well, that was a high-intensity first quarter, Ross. What did you like about it? What did you make of that first quarter?
Yeah, look, all week we spoke about, we'll do a walk and talk though. We spoke about, you know, numbering off and squeezing. Teams have been controlling the ball, so we kept them to 13 uncontested marks, and then we thought our boys out of back half got a bit cute, forced it up the middle, invited him into the game. But we thought our press game was a lot better. Maybe got a little bit shallow on entry.
Appreciate it, Tom. All the very best.
5 seasons in his first time around out the Saints and 8 seasons of Fremantle to go with it, including a grand final.
TV, Ross. What?
It was great. But he made comment about a little bit cute out of defence. We saw Webster channel a couple of kicks back in the corridor that missed the target. 1 or 2 others did the same. They just need to make the right decisions.
We saw it last weekend with Bonner against Port Adelaide early, and it ended up costing them. It was only a 10-point margin, and they gave 2 or 3 scoring opportunities away in the first quarter again with Webster. So North Melbourne only the 9 inside 50s, and the scores largely came from St Kilda errors in that middle patch.
So the margin is 6 as we head into quarter 2. Sherry going to ground, but he was still earnest in his efforts to try and get the hit out.
So they do look dangerous going forward, North. 5 scores from their 9 inside 50s. They just need a bit more territory.
Sherry again first hands. Marshall, though, had the last laugh and got the kick away. Could have easily been a collision there. Great desperation. Wilson hooks it towards King. It pitches in front of he and Core. And Fisher, Perpetti, not 15. And that's a dangerous kick from McKercher. Wardlaw had to fight in an outnumbered battle, and there's a whistle for hanging on, and it is going the way of the Kangaroos.
Interesting that Ross spoke about pressing up. They've given away the second most uncontested marks around the ground in the first 7 weeks. So they don't want to allow North to possess the ball with kicks here. They want to force them long like that.
His whole body into that kick. Wasn't great connection, as you saw, a little bit scrappy, and Marshall sending it straight back. So now they have to get back into defensive mode. Under pressure, Owens providing plenty of that. Breaking clear, Phillippo pops the handball across. Ross, quick snap, good snap. Very good snap. And the Saints have 4 in a row, and the lead grows to 12.
Well, the one thing that can be very costly are missed tackles. I think it might have been young Hardiman that missed that tackle as the ball breaks out here, and that's the reason they get that snap. You've got to stick your tackles when you get the opportunity. See the hand pass, that one right there. Phillipou just breaks through and releases the footy.
So that's the 6th turnover that St Kilda have been able to force in their front half, and they've scored 3 goals, 1 from it. So if you take away the uncontested marks, not that North are looking for it, mind you, they're probably happy to go long to contest, but if you take away those uncontested marks, you have a chance to turn the ball over in your front half and you go back and score. 4 scores out of 6 front half intercepts is a great return for St Kilda already.
This has been North's issue this year. They've been good in patches, but then concede a run of goals. They've conceded 4 in a row now. Towed out of the deck by Sinclair. He'll travel the required. Playing in front. Turns, goes. He's got Hayes in a paddock. Wow. They came at him late, but it seemed as if they were zoning, not playing one-on-one.
Yeah, and given the ball was held up because it was a diving chest mark from Hill, had a player on him that had to get off, then he had to back away from the mark. There was ample time to get your defensive structure right behind the ball, but Core got confused about who the matchup was. He went the wrong way. It was just far too easy.
They do have an extra defender to bring on as their sub, Toby Pink. And that's going to squeeze in. Looking good on return, Jack Hayes.
You can see the love from his teammates. And as much as we talk about it's great to see players back from injury, fans happy to see him back. It's the players that watch him go through the day-to-day rehab and the long time you spend out of the game and everything you have to go through to get yourself back into playing. And to see Jack Hayes back now doing what he loves, it's fantastic. He's a big body, he presents well, he's got good hands, and he's showing us he can finish.
He did get back late last year for 1 game after foot and soft tissue issues during the year, just before you add some more to that, Bucks. Let's get down to Dell.
Yeah, just discussing Jackson Archer, who had that incident towards the back end of that first quarter. He has tried to warm up again to start this quarter, clearly hampered, limping significantly. After discussions with the head physios, headed down into the rooms for further assessment. Toby Pink is their substitute, so we'll wait to see what happens there in the next few minutes.
Play back underway. Sinclair hold it off to Steele. And in they go again. Owens got to the front, denied by McDonald. Core smothered. Phillippo busy. Hands on the footy multiple times. King. There he is again. Phillippo got to his feet. Did brilliantly to get the snap away.
They've got to do something about their centre bounces, North. They won clearances 10-7 in the first quarter, but they've lost the first 3 centre bounces in a row here. Puts your defence under so much pressure.
McKercher just strolls his 15, maybe strolled his 20. Towards Sherry. Wardlaw makes the contest. Simpkin kicked it from mid-air, probably not the option. Could have taken possession. Wanganeen-Milera. Sinclair. On their terms at the moment, St Kilda. They've got numbers out wide. There's a raffle out there. Wood turns and goes. Hits a perfect spot. This time it's King, the target, over his head. Fisher put it at Scott's feet, so he had to stop before he got it. That put his kick under pressure. Howard got up there, didn't bring the mark down. Battle. Howard. Stocker. Just bangs it back, blasts it back. King's got a few to beat. And the boundary line beats him, ball in.
They've got some work to do down back North, because if that was a better kick coming into Max King, he takes a mark and has another shot 30 out directly in front. That leading channel straight up the corridor is wide open.
Saints lead has expanded to a game-high 19. Kangaroos defence working overtime. The Bigs, Comben and Cherry got in each other's way, and the exit wasn't made. Hill was dancing every which way, but kindly hands it back. Now Cherry from Davies-Uniacke. The fist was an important one from Simpkin. Disrupted play, opportunities abound. Larkey, agile enough. He fooled about 7 of them, including his own teammates. Zerha running hard forward. Stocker, that's high, but probably a worthy free kick in the end from a St Kilda point of view. He seems to cherish it, even though he's given away the free. Enjoying the cut and thrust of it all. Zerha, in she goes towards full forward. Big fist from Howard. Wilson, first play on it. Keeps Shields at bay and then feeds the handball back to the hard-running Wood. Now Sinclair, decisions to be made. A handball over the top to the captain Steele. Back to Wilson. They've got to half-back and they're still travelling along nicely. Sinclair fired it away. Numbers were with North Melbourne there, but once the mark wasn't taken by Comben, who's hurt himself badly. And the ball's gone over the line and out of bounds. And let's hope that is not serious, Bucks.
Some guys just...
no luck, do they?
Yeah, they don't have luck. A little bit awkward in falling potentially, but hopefully that's just a stinger and he's okay.
Positive that he's running back to position, because he was right next to the bench when it happened too.
Yeah.
You see his shoulder strap, but it was the broken leg that cost him a year. With Davies-Uniacke, Simpkin gave it up. Powell, great smother. Hasty was exactly that. He went straight at him and smothered it. Steele inside, Windhager back outside. Hasty, clever knockout. Free kick downfield, Sinclair can go. He's got King, he went way wide. Owens got there late, contested it, got it out of play.
You mentioned North Melbourne's defence, but one guy that has been kept under wraps really well is Mitch Owens. He's very hard to beat in a one-on-one. Luke McDonald mainly has had that role. At the moment, Comben is on him, but been well held despite St Kilda having the ball inside 50-21 times already.
Membry does some ruck work here, so it's not Owens, it's not Hayes. See who goes at it here.
Still watching Comben.
He's still very
pain,
sore. He's sore, Hutto.
Yeah. And also seeing Liam Shields getting that calf strap. Did an extended warm-up or a fitness test prior to the game, so clearly came into the game under a little bit of a concern or a cloud. He's put his hand up to play, but now just getting that right shin/calf assessed.
Yeah, we saw that prolonged, what we thought may have been a fitness test before the game. That is a wild old kick, almost into the crowd. But at least it buys them some time. The Sherry kick out of defence. They've got to get set again. Battle plays it super short. That could be 50. Wow, sometimes it is, and today it isn't.
So how far did the kick go? 7 metres, 8 metres?
If that.
Wow.
Mason Wood just tries to shape the kick into the pocket. Massive double fist away. Good reflex take by Fisher. Issues now for Wilson. Fisher has another crack at it. Scrambles a kick out. Wood prevails in the marking contest against Simpkin.
The length of the spoil was great. The direction was terrible.
A low ball towards King. Allowed Core to spoil. Wilson.
Not the best option. He's been great, and I love him as a player, but I reckon that could go to the top of the square or somewhere else.
He would have done that before, somewhere in under 18, somewhere.
If it had gone through, it would have been excellent.
He's going well. It's a little heat check for him. Bonner heads wide. Every Saint having a heat check at the moment. They are hotter than hot. Membry, one of those. Heads out wide, and Hastie's been good. Wilson's been good. All their young guns have been great.
Yeah, they're on top now. They're starting to use the ball. They're moving it quickly. They're finding space, hitting loose targets.
More frustrations for North fans with those mistakes that are being made on the way out.
Yeah, this is another opportunity with a front half turnover to go back and score again. But young Hastie's been a bit of a glutton for punishment today. Already a quarter and a half, he's probably copped 3 or 4 solid whacks already.
This will be a good reward. He's never kicked a goal in AFL footy. That shapes back beautifully. He has now owns his own little moment in time, Angus Hastie. Hit 33 in last year's draft. Geelong Falcons cricketer, basketballer. As a footballer, he might end up being a big star with this club.
It's fun when you watch a player kick his first goal. They sprint from everywhere, his teammates. It's great enthusiasm. It's great love for your fellow teammate. They just love seeing everyone get on the board. They were sprinting from all directions. You can see his excitement. It's a beautiful finish. They're really starting to assert themselves now, the Saints.
Played 2 games last week. Angus Hastie played a quarter in the AFL and then had to play the full VFL game.
They've now turned the ball over 12 times in that attacking mid and gone back and scored 4 goals, 2 from them. So it's a real issue for North Melbourne. They need to be able to move the ball, shift it off the line, and get it through out of their back half if they to give themselves any chance.
And that last one, that didn't actually look too bad. Larky just dropped a mark in the middle of the ground that he would normally hold.
Jackson Archer remains in the rooms. He's getting an ankle assessed as we speak. But interestingly, Toby Pink hasn't even got off the back seat of the bench, so he might have missed an opportunity to get on the ground.
Leader's blown out to 26, and that might be about to grow. Another deepish entry, not deep enough. Now it's well handled by Core. It plays to a bit of space, and Scott. Now the ball bounced, which limits his decisions. Hasty, full of excitement and love for the game and the world in general. At the moment, comes chasing, and the Saints fans are liking what they see. It's been a bit of a barren time for them as late.
Here's another great example of ball security. North Melbourne trying to play on quickly. Core takes the intercept mark, turns, and then misses the target.
Sherry's handball was under duress. Ross couldn't shake the tackle completely, and the kick might have just landed in the field of play, only just.
On the flip side, the St Kilda coach mentioned it at quarter time. He wanted to press the ground. This is the type of game that he has wanted to see, that they've coached through the week. So great validation to be able to talk about that and then go and execute it.
That's the look back from the goals to where the contest takes place. Margin still sits at 26. North's 3 goals all came in a row midway through the opening time, opening term.
Holding. North Melbourne.
Going to be able to get out of it here. For one of the brightest spots of the year, Tristan Sherry, for his continued work. He's averaging 7 clearances a game himself, and his AFL number 4 for tackles. This time he thumps it to half forward. Wilkie do enough to slow things down and allow the rest of the troops to arrive, and we'll have a ball up as Archer continues to try and prove his case that he can get back out there.
No experience, Toby Pink. He needs to warm up and let the coach remind the coach, I'm down here. It's a stub. Good tackle by Windhager. Holding the ball, had Pryor. Going to the umpire, tried to take the tackler on Powell. And they want the corridor, and they get it. Hayes has a gallop. Bullet pass is good to Membry. That looked 50 maybe. Umpire said play on, but 50 probably would have been a better option. The target's been hit, so it doesn't matter. And Garcia has a chance to have a crack. Battle comes past on the flyby and puts it across the face.
Hold player.
A bit stiff not to be paid the mark. Membry, mark or free kick, got nothing.
Player.
Roos on the way out. There's an element of risk in the kick again from Fisher. Tucker made a reasonable fist of it, but you can see what happened in the post as they just crowded out the Saints, and that's Wood on top of it. Here's the pressure in this second quarter. Gee, it's massively high from the Saints.
Yeah, it's taking its toll. That's what's creating all the turnovers. Players having to make quick decisions, not executing the skills correctly.
North just 14 uncontested marks, and that brings the ball to ground, which allows the pressure. Every uncontested mark you take that pressure factor drops away.
The Saints, as you see, with almost 50. Steele dug in and dug the ball out. Simpkin, as North do get an opportunity. Curtis having no real access to the ball. Umpire could have called it either way, and it goes against Curtis. Looking with his strength and experience, winning that little mini battle and giving St Kilda back control of the football. And make your own call looking at the replay, but more of this uncontested, careful ball use from the Saints, just denying the Kangaroos any good looks at the ball at all. Wilkie, Battle and Hill both give him a couple of options. He chooses the former and flirts with the boundary. Yes, that's what it looked like from here too. Out of bounds on the full. Patched up. Liam Shields is back out there and poking it down the line. Tucker just hesitated on the kick. Larkey with only Webster to jump over. Jimmy did a good job there to break even, and even better than that. And the Saints fans show their appreciation. Windhagen, now he gets jumped on top of by Liam Shields, and in the end it's the veteran Roo that wins the ball. Back to Tucker. Wardlaw. Larkey was leading up to the ball, that almost impossible for him to give us that sort of service on that occasion. Stocker played the line of the ball, gets the immediate clearing kick out of there and lands it with Sinclair. Mark or free kick, take your pick.
Saints have got an extra behind the ball, and North an extra where the ball is. They're kicking into the outnumber quite a bit now, North, and they go forward. Sinclair. There's Howard. He's the spare one back there. Paul Curtis a little hurt from the Howard body contact, but gee, Howard turned his body into that contest magnificently. All the answers at the moment. Wilson, Webster got away with a quick handball before they could boo him. Wilson, and now Hill, look out. This is dangerous. Heads to the pocket. Maybe not.
That one didn't come off, but Wilson runs so hard into space in front of him, draws a defender, and then quite often finds a teammate that can run into the next bit of dangerous space. His run creates so much.
Scott did well, takes the mark, and he is off. Dashing play, and you can see why, as he's able to find Dersma waiting patiently. Curtis, 1, 2, 3 bounces. It gets to him now, and you can see a path for Zurha. No reason to stop. It's a stroll in for the Roos, and a most welcome one. The high press is great until you're able to breach through. And they'll be prepared to give up 1 or 2, the Saints, if they can have control of the game, but the Kangaroos will certainly take that.
It was terrific. Fast play from Scott first, but I like this kick here. He knew he had him. He just had to get it there. It didn't matter what it looked like. He threw it on the boot. He just got it tumbling end over end to get it there quickly, and that allowed them time to set up the loose over the top.
I think it's fair to say that was against the flow of play, and a St Kilda breakdown in that back half, which we haven't seen. It hasn't been challenged to that extent through the midfield part of the ground, and they just they lost their structure, lost their depth, and North were able to get out the back.
Good goal by the Kangas, and also good news that Jackson Archer is back on the ground. He's been getting treatment and warming up for over 20 minutes, so he's now going to go to the back line and play on Mitch Owens.
Like a run of 6 Saints goals in a row. Larkey, and they've done pretty well when Larkey's been in the ruck. Might get his own clearance here. He does to Powell. Mark that if you can. A floater. Webster. Wilkie. Really put the Jets on Garcia. Had to motor to get there. Made the effort. Was playing in front, so had position A anyway. Down the line to Owens, and there's Archer. He's on. He's fresh, but not quite up to that battle. And he pleads his case. Might have been in trouble last year for pleading so vehemently.
Very passionate play, wasn't it?
That's right. Garcia flies from 4 deep. Wardlaw's been crumbing it beautifully at the front. McKercher been using it well. Shields. Hesitation step, and now, well, Howard outread Zurha to perfection there. Zurha was looking for body contact, and Howard stepped around it and cooked him.
Keeps the kick short. And Sinclair slightly misfires, and Membry almost looking like the emoji there with arms out as to why he didn't get better service than that. Kangaroos, reasonably slow play. Can accelerate here if Shields can handle it. Not quite as he would have liked. Jerry piles in, and that's Bonner, a little rocking action underneath all of that. Just enough to convince the umpire that he's trying to get rid of the ball. Probably fooling nobody. Margin sits at 21. Hayes just dumping it out to Hill, to Wanganeen-Milera. And now Windhager senses there's the chance to charge on. Hill, Membry, well placed to take this one. Engaged with Comben, doesn't bring it down. Comben fights the good fight. And we'll call that a draw.
Oh, he'd be disappointed with himself, Tim Membry. Had it in his hands. That's a mark and an easy kick for goal, but just couldn't grab it cleanly.
Paul beats King. A little surprisingly in the ruck contest there. Fisher with the dump handball. The intent all the time was to get it over and out. And this time with Davies-Uniacke not penalised incorrectly for out of bounds on the full. We'll have a throw in.
Larkey and King. Larkey front spot did well, but Hill knew exactly what he was planning, and then almost had his legs taken by Comben. Umpire circling, will ball it up. Big pack around it. Critical stage of this match. Saints kick 6 in a row to get a margin. North have kicked the last of the game. And now Ross gets a chance to bend it, but I don't think that bent all that much on the full.
Speaking of Ross, just a little animated. Doesn't take much to set them off.
It'd be nice to mic up his coach's box one day, wouldn't it?
Them. Who's them?
You and your mob. McDonald. Marshall is well set well before the footy arrived.
Nothing like a bit of casual stereotyping, is it?
Hayes, in fact, brings it back. No. To Howard. Not a lot of sympathy being shown around, I've got to say, Bucks, as Wilkie.
Yeah, what are you accusing us commentators of doing it all the time, Bucks, eh?
Precious callers.
All of you. Well done, Wardlaw. Those little acts, the little wins they talk about at North Melbourne.
He's not going to die wondering, is he, George Wardlaw? He puts it all out there.
3 scores already in the game for him. 1 goal, 2, unfortunately. Landed the first and then missed a couple on the run. Staying in the contest, though, the Kangaroos. Digging in this second quarter when it looked like they might be overwhelmed, but letting themselves down from the young to the not so young. We'll have another throw-in.
Held their own, though, in the last few minutes. North, as well as kicking the last of the game. Hayes edged out Larkey, went back onto it and got one for too high.
It's had a good start. Jack Hayes missed a lot of football. Up to 11 disposals, also kicked those 2 goals.
Yeah, doing very well when he's in the ruck too, Dal. He's more than happy to get involved, put the big body in.
And as you mentioned before, allows Mitch Owens not to have to sacrifice his body as an undersized ruck.
He's only 194, Hayes, but he plays tall.
Yep.
Wanganeen-Milera, it's in the Membry direction, who landed awkwardly, but looks like he's okay. Ross, Hill, fell, Bonner, crunched. Wardlaw fighting the fight well, and he wins himself a free for his trouble. It's been good to watch. He's got a huge future there, pick 4 from a couple of seasons ago. Still eligible for the Rising Star this year, just 8 games last year. Pumps it out wide. Zerha does get up, but he ran under it. Wilson at the back, corralled it. Bonner. Wilkie. Dance step was good, but then he danced his way off the dance floor. 2 North players looked at each other and messed it up. Sheasel was going to go and get it. Wanganeen-Milera just went and got it. To Hill, to Wanganeen-Milera. There's no one in the goal square. He can go for home. He needs a dribble, a skip. He didn't quite get it over the heads. And a nice thump through by Archer, who's proved his fitness okay. Only a behind.
He still is hobbling significantly, though, behind the football, but with that surname once again, you can just expect maximum effort from him every opportunity.
Fisher into Scott. Larkey read the flight of the ball perfectly. Takes the mark in front of Hayes. gives him, because he's not a high possession player. It's obviously not easy as full forward for North Melbourne, but does give him a chance to get more of the feel for the footy. I mean, Zurhaar is the deepest forward, but unfortunately the problem is they still need another link to get it down, and that mark is not paid, and Howard couldn't quite complete it. So the Kangaroos will get an opportunity on a slow play and a stoppage to see if they can get the ball forward to Zurhaar. Stevenson and Curtis are down there as well. And so is Dersma. Let's see if the Roos can get it in their direction. Simpkin, Windhager, who is right there with him.
One other thing the Saints have done at stoppage is they've crossed their wing. They don't want to give Sheasel, McKercher or any of the North high backs any uncontested possessions. Even though McKercher was able to get a little bit in that first quarter, they've closed that down even more. Probably a little bit around that idea of pressing the back half of North and trying to force turnover.
Larky's gone back to full forward, letting the number 1 ruck combinations fight it out. Pretty much even numbers behind the ball. A relatively open stoppage here on the wing.
See Mason Wood standing inside Darcy Tucker there, the wingers on this side.
Getting it was one thing, Cherry getting rid of it was another. Powell came to his aid, got it forward, but again the Saints on guard. Bonner's handball to Windhager, running away from goal. Snappy hands from the Saints, so Stocker to Wood. He was in such a hurry to get rid of it. He wasn't quite able to capture it in the first place. And the ball goes out to the chagrin of Mason Wood.
He's still a little rusty. A couple of the players that have been out for a while, a little rusty. Alistair Clarkson and Ross Lyon. Two of the all-time greats, head-to-head. Cherry, caught, bang! Simpkin caught immediately. Just the 5 possessions as we approach half-time for Jai Simpkin. Best ever tally's 44, but he's been averaging about 15 a game this year. Look, Davies-Uniacke had it, lost it, got it, they got him. The umpire see that. Well, Sinclair's got it anyway. Heads to half forward. Marshall's playing forward. Manhandled, no free. Hayes split the pack, got it up the hill, dragged down by McDonald. No holding the ball free. McKercher heads wide. Stevenson hasn't seen a lot of it, won't see it here. Ball in.
Hasn't seen any of it, in fact, yet. Jaden Stevenson, just the 1 tackle to his name.
Trying to be kind.
You were trying to, Dwayne.
Oh, well. Got to be honest in this game.
Never know when his moment might arrive. On the throw, Owens back in the ruck, and left by Cherry, who got the tap down. Rounded up by Steele, Wanganeen-Milera, Windhager. Sky ball, Max King. He also hasn't had much of the footy. Core has been very strident in his defensive work, a little too much so on this occasion. And gives away the free kick. Now can Max go long and straight, or on tired-ish legs? He thinks he's a better chance to hit the leading forward. He wasn't, as it turned out. And Simpkin may not be winning as much of the footy, but his courage and desire certainly can't be questioned.
Well, they finally learned their lesson, North. They cut off the leading channel because that would have been an easy mark to Marshall if he didn't intervene.
Simpkin, and a one-hander from Sheasel.
The high defenders, well, the defenders are expecting the midfielders drop into that hole, so Simpkin did that well.
Zurhaar, good combat, and then on the follow-up, took care of Owens. Soccer from Powell. It's Larky, and it's a good defensive effort coming out of there by Stocker again. He didn't get carried away, he just took the easy option. He gave it to Windhager. He too just unwilling to move it until he finds the right option. And now the switch is on. We're going to travel that city side through battle.
Wood. Wanganeen-Milera.
They've been able to do this since the start of the match, haven't they? Just uncontested marks, finding space.
Hill, Wanganeen-Milera down the spine, that corridor. Sees parting for Hayes again, and he loops it up for the flyby. Hill drives it home in style.
You know he'll run all day, Brad Hill. He was the one that delivered the ball. He just kept going. again, it's been a profitable strategy for St Kilda, just leading straight up the corridor towards the ball carrier, but he just gets it back, dodges a tackle, or a would-be tackler at least. Not sure he even got touched. And he enjoyed it too, Brad Hill.
Sinclair's been dominant through the middle, 19 touches. Wanganeen-Milera off the back, 19 touches. So this second quarter in particular, they've been able to take over with 10 touches each. Darcy Wilson with 10 touches in the second quarter as well. So St Kilda's midfield, their back six holding on strong. And they've given their forwards 35 inside 50s of supply to get to work.
Career goal number 100 for Brad Hill, their most experienced player, the Saints, in game 241. And when he's up and running, he's still a significant weapon for Ross Lyon. Wardlaw hangs on for as long as he can and then goes a second time, and then he cops it. He gets no joy from the umpire. Just shake that off and get back to his feet. That's the way he and Jack Steele play the game. 1:14 remaining. Kangaroos, as we said, have hung in there. That last goal, bit of a heartbreaker. Fisher out to the wing. Now the chase is on. Filippo first play, and he bounds away, but Archer stuck to the task nicely. Fisher takes it out. Just the one goal in this quarter for North. Saints have kicked 4-4 for the turn. Hamilton stands at 28. Still time for another. Sinclair. It looked beautiful off the boot from Hill. You can see it's bounced a couple of times. That gave Core a chance just to come out and cut off the angles against King. Can they get past the wing? Well, not past Bonner at this stage. Stevenson takes care of him at least. And so it's a ball up rather than anything more dangerous. Last 40 seconds or so of the first half.
Marshall, Sherry, Windhager, bump on the kick, but got plenty on it. Owens, a little tap down. Fisher, 3 Saints around him, but he did well. Found some room where there wasn't a lot. Floats the kick. Stevenson, Bonner. There's a hold free, a block free. It's North Melbourne's free, so they'll have the last say of the half. Stevenson, what kind of say will it be? Stevenson needs to hit a target. Sends it towards Zerhard territory, and guess who had an outstanding first half, Howard. Talked about it a bit. He's been a whipping boy at times, but he has been as solid as ever this afternoon, and it's half-time. 28 points the margin. Saints looking for their third victory of the season. North Melbourne looking for their first. And Alistair Clarkson's seen this movie before. 14th on the ladder coming in, the Saints. They desperately need to win this one. And after it's a 6-point margin at quarter time, they've bumped it out to 28 at the half. Great to have your company.
Well, Clarko, some really good signs early, then it did get challenging. What was your key message to the boys at half-time?
Well, early in the game, we were equal in the contest in the first quarter, and it was a pretty even game. But then Saints got on top in that part of the ground of the second quarter, and then the territory is all St Kilda. So, and we're just going a little, we're under so much heat, then we go pretty slow and straight with the footy, which plays into St Kilda's hands too, and then they can get their uncontested mark game going as well. So, the most significant part of it is we equalise in the contest, then we give ourselves a chance to get ourselves back in the game.
The modern game is you lock it in your front half, and it was pinned in your back half quite a lot that second quarter. What instructions do you give the boys to be able to get it out a little bit more freely to give yourself a chance to score?
Yeah, well, it's tough. Every side wants to play the game that way. There's so much pressure and so many numbers out there. That's why it's so difficult to get the ball out. So that's why if we win the contest and get it played in our half like it was early in the game, then we give ourselves a chance to put the pressure on St Kilda.
Appreciate your time as always. All the very best.
Alistair Clarkson, who's going to have to reach into his trick bag in the second half. So Caminiti and Sharman drop. Jack Hayes and Max King in. Different looking forward line at the moment.
Well, Jack Hayes has been unbelievable, hasn't he, really? His numbers from the first half. 13 disposals, 9 contested possessions, 2 goals.
Love what he's doing in the ruck as well. Gives Rowan Marshall a good chop out.
We eventually think that would release Mitch Owens to go to work in his favoured part of the field as well. He's been relatively quiet given St Kilda's dominance, but as we said at the beginning, good ins.
And that's made the world of difference. 28 points is the margin. They are, of course, up against the winless Kangaroos. Sherry has been a pretty dominant force today in the middle for North. Gets it down. Davies-Uniacke wouldn't mind a second crack at that. Good fist from Bonner.
Clarko talking about having the contest. Contest was even in the first quarter. In fact, North Melbourne +2 in contested ball. St Kilda +12 in contested ball in the second quarter. So that's probably what he's looking at around the middle of the field.
Marshall palming that one with some purpose, but again, just hard. There's so many weight of numbers around the football for anything clean to materialise. Umpire tries to separate them all. Let's have another go at it. Sherry just reaching the hands from Windhager, had to follow it up himself. Steele to Marshall. Archer trying to stay with Owens. And the ball over the line and out of bounds. So we've had a minute of play and the ball's gone about 45 metres.
Alistair Clarkson doesn't have a goal kicker to bring on. Toby Pink, his sub, who was a defender, was on the Swans list for 3 years, didn't play a game. Toby Pink, mature age recruit, had to play his way back on an AFL list through the Sandful as a defender.
Appears an odd choice for a sub too, Dwayne.
Well, it's okay if you're 4 goals up and you're trying to save it, but they're down and going to have to win it. Great tackle by Windhager on the 7:20. Deliberate or insufficient intent. Under the correct wording of the rule, Windhager told to get back around the boundary line.
That was tackle number 7 for Windhager for the day.
He's been a contributor again. Wilkie looks up. He's got Howard on the open side. He's got some space and Webster. He'll get a bill or two, but he won't mind it.
Gee, they've done this easily, haven't they? Just spread North Melbourne apart, identified easy chip targets.
Hill goes to the second option. Marshall thumped away. Drury, Sherry banks it back to the spare. Howard tried to dive on it, Draper style, like it was a grenade. Picked up nicely by Curtis. Sheasel hits his target. LDU loops it over the top. Larkey hasn't got one yet. He still hasn't got one. Hasn't got a score yet.
And put it down to the pressure coming at him, because all of a sudden he had to kick the ball up and over the oncoming player. I think it was Wilkie that was trying to get there. And it just forced him to miss the kick.
Sometimes as a defender where you need to be desperate, and there's other times when you need to be smart. Dougal Howard losing his feet there in that instant was not the right time.
Cam Zerha, that walk number on the way out. Hit a trick or two to get all the way through to Wilson. Had an outstanding first half. Off to Wood, and suddenly things are looking up on the move forward for Stocker. There's room for King. He just can't quite cut back, and the ball just angled back towards McDonald, sliding in.
Done a great job on Owens. Just the 6 touches, Owens, as we mentioned just 5 minutes ago. But Luke McDonald sort of struggled to find his feet coming back into the side after a bit of a layoff, but much better today.
He just pointed Max King too. He found space over the back, but the kick just went into the corridor. Took him towards an oncoming pair of players.
McKercher biding his time.
It's just no movement from any potential receivers. So when Clarko was saying we go down the line, there's just no work for the ball.
He was searching for ages on the horizon. There was nothing for him, as Buck said. So it's down the line to another huge pack of players.
And Bucks, just to put that in perspective, you look at the uncontested marks, or just the marks in general, 80 to 33. And that's an example where the Kangas can march the ball up just by some uncontested football.
Gee, what a struggle it is in the ruck between Sherry and Marshall, giving an inch to each other. Again, the Saints have control of the footy. To short to a contest. And Wilson, another contested ball win for him. Playing beyond his years. Windhager, the extra feed to Steele, made him pretty easy prey for Tucker. Umpire unwilling to blow the whistle. So in the aftermath, there's another contest on all fours. That was Core. Forward to Drury. He had multiple runners. It was awkward for Wardlaw, twisting and turning and finding a solution. And a breakdown was imminent, but well done from LDU to get a handball out. Still no whistle. coming through Wardlaw, and they are out now. Archer to Sheasel. Shields, Zerha back to goal, and Curtis leading up. Takes the mark. Crisp on the pass.
Yeah, good persistence there by North Melbourne to get the extra number across half-back. Looks like St Kilda had them 2, 3, 4 times. Rowan Marshall came forward to stick that tackle. That was good play, but unable to win the next contest. And then North were able to get through in their attacking mid. And really good lower the eyes by Liam Shields to come back to Curtis.
Has been involved in more scores than any other North Melbourne player this year, but only 2 for today. Goalless last week for the first time in the year. Not going to be goalless again, Paul Curtis. And the Kangaroos start in much better fashion as they cut the margin back to 21 points in this third quarter.
It was a good passage all the way from halfback. Georgie Wardlaw, just persistence. He doesn't get everything right. Every now and then there's a fumble or a missed target, but he'll back it straight up. He'll go again. There's the fumble. And look what happens. He just follows it up. He breaks 3 tackles there to get through to get the hand pass out, and then that releases them. And this is something that teams don't do enough of. Everyone's looking for that one over the back. Someone needs to come back at the kicker. It's an easy little chip kick when you're running straight ahead, just to pop it on the boot and kick it 15 metres. A good finish.
Shoot and slide. So Curtis was shooting. You had Larkey and Zerha were going long to the goal square. You want to give your kicker as many options as possible.
Correct.
So 21 points in the best part of a half of football left. Sherry takes it out of the air. Wood in the hole.
Stand. Wow.
Fans it wide. Nicely delivered. Steele. Bonner. See if he launches here. Inside kick is delightful if it's marked, and it is a bit of an ear massage as well on the way through, but Wilson prepared to take the heat and take the Sherrin.
I suspect he was looking for Membry on the lead, but it doesn't matter. Back into the corridor, and that's where they've really been able to attack North today, haven't they?
Have I spoken enough about this kid yet?
I think you can keep going, Bucks.
Well, he's doing it in all areas and all facets, isn't he? Like I didn't see the contested mark stuff in him, or haven't seen it early in this season, but geez, if you can bring that to the table, go to another level again.
It was a fair head spoil as well that didn't faze him and didn't daze him. Shaken, not stirred. The pick 18 from last year's draft looks the goods. We have a look at the Bunnings build-up.
What St Kilda have done really well is work for the ball carrier. So whether it's been a slow play and they've gone back to allow their backs to get involved, or in this instance where it was up quick, out to Steele, who's a midfielder who broke the space, use the hands to a half-back, and then that kick, that's just such a dangerous place to kick the ball. Either a key forward coming up, a deep forward, or sort of high forward who might be sliding back, or in this instance, and Wilson has played high forward a little bit, or a wingman.
And you do know that if you're taking a mark against Luke McDonald, you're going to earn it. And he did.
Averaging 15 disposals a game this year. He's already passed that, and we're just into the third quarter.
Game high 10 contested possessions for him.
Quite tremendous out of the middle. Ross into the space. Archer and Owens. Archer playing the ball from in front of Owens and getting the job done. Look at the future for St Kilda. As you said, they've got 4 teenagers playing today: Filippo, Garcia, Wilson and Hasty. And you see suddenly Wilson jump up. He's going to be more than, young as he is, he can be more than that really quickly. And suddenly you look at a team and their progress, and things can change. Davies-Uniacke, North can learn a lesson out of that. Hardiman, that's rushed, and that gives the Saints, who are lining up, ready to feast, an opportunity off the right boot. Mason Wood, he's tossed it high, gave King a chance to turn around. There's a whistle. And the grasping was against King, and it goes to court.
Max King's been in the game long enough. That's just an opportunity for him to jump highest points.
Jump, exactly.
He's a tall unit. He's been in the game for 5 or 6. He's got his man covered.
Like Dersma did.
Correct.
He's got some ups, Dersma. Sorry, Bucks, I thought Desmond was finding some shoulders to sit on there for a while. Ross goes back to Howard.
Thankfully, he didn't take mark of the year.
Why? Because I was calling it, Long kick to half forward. McDonald gets back.
Whilst we're talking footy, we get in the way sometimes, don't we?
We do.
Jamie Elliott's going to take some beating, that's for sure. McDonald Up to a one-on-one on the wing. Battle was in the prime position to take the mark. He didn't do that. And Hill just came flashing past. So instead of it going out, Saints are getting into their kick game. Not the best kick. Wardlaw ready to capitalise. And again, Curtis knowing exactly what to do next. Thought about just popping it over the top, but thought better of it.
We saw it midway through the first quarter, some St Kilda errant kicks in that space that gave North Melbourne some really good scoring opportunities once again.
It's the second one of this quarter. We saw one along the ground moments ago that didn't get punished. This one should get punished.
And unfortunately, Riley Bonner, there's a lot of good, but a lot of the copy on a kick like that can hurt, but doesn't hurt as much as it might have on the miss from Paul Curtis. North have been just about the most accurate team in the competition this year. But a couple of misses today hurts that scoreline.
So Todd Viney in the box. Experience alongside Alistair Clarkson. Battle. So they've done this a bit. Go one side and then the switch. Bonner wants to stick to that side by the looks of it, and they've chip-marked their way out of defence a few times. Steele. Sherry backs back with the flight. Can't beat Marshall. Turns and goes. He blasts it long. King gets a moment here. Gets up. Core got a set of knuckles to it. Ball knocked to the back. Archer caught by Hayes, and he did wrap him up nicely without getting into his back. Ball up.
Rocks rolling. Fist down.
Sherry couldn't take it cleanly out of the ruck. Membry eyed off Sinclair straight away. Strong enough and good enough to get clear. Davies-Uniacke kept at it. Which way will the ball turn? North or St Kilda? Scott with a sliding tackle. Squished underneath. All of that was Rowan Marshall.
Nothing came of it then, but you love Rowan Marshall's follow-up as a big unit to get his hands dirty. The best ruckmen in the competition really do make those second and third efforts to follow up.
Yeah, both of them are that type, aren't they, today? So it's been a great tussle. Powell, the second go at it. Made a better fist of it. Back towards the wing. Maybe some holding against Curtis. Yes. That's going to be politely asked who the ball was going to, and clearly that was the man it was designed for. Off the steal, and the Saints are ready to reset.
North players folding back to try and fill the holes. Webster. Not as loud the boos now in this third term. To Wilkie, to Howard. Spear pass, and there the sea's parted again, this time for Filippo. Hacked away by Fisher. It'll be coming back. They've got extras behind the ball. Howard's been one of those. Been reading it well off the hack kick. He sends it wide. Hayes got up. Big thump by Sherry. McKercher got it up. Hardiman. Saints fan as a kick, grew up hoping to play for the Saints. Now a big moment for him against them.
He would have been in amongst those that were yelling at him right there.
Would have too.
And the umpire prepared to go back through the goal square to get out the other side. Comben considered the layoff handball to Fisher. Now he's confronted. The handball, as you see, goes a little wider to Core and then to Archer. Well placed for Shields. Enough protection. Archer, that's better overlap running. More aggressive play. Dersma ducks underneath it. Both players topple to ground. Full bounce for Curtis. Instead of running away with the footy, he had to put two lots of pressure on.
But it's much better ball movement for North Melbourne. At least they didn't just go static, slow, straight, long up the line. They ran, they carried, they changed direction way down back, and then drew and kept giving the hand pass, get some run, and then the long kick to a one-on-one contest.
Larkey the deepest forward, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. Dersma also pushing down there with Curtis. Clearing kick from Bonner. Travels beyond the wing. King is up there. Core's done a terrific job on him today. Membry, Powell, an opportunity to try and split the pack. Instead, he just about got split in half. Good to see King getting down and dirty.
You're right, Harlow. We need to give Aidan Core some kudos. He has done a great job. The ball's been down there plenty, 43 inside 50s. He's only had the 4 possessions for 1 goal, Max King, and that was a free kick off the ball.
Well, Sherry kind of knocked it the wrong way, even though that was the way they planned. Hasty couldn't get a handball to a friend. We'll get another ball in.
I think part of that has been St Kilda's entries. They've had 3 or 4, maybe 5 times when they've had a player hitting up and they've kicked it over the head or missed that target. if there is a kick that they've missed more than they should have today, it is that inside 50 kick to advantage.
So both rucks knock into the same direction. Sherry to that defensive side, and the Saints want to go that way too. Good dance step by Ross. Heads in the wood direction, and he's good enough against the kid McKercher. And this is within his repertoire.
Yeah, no chance. Colby McKercher. I mean, he's a wingman, but he's basically a key position player, isn't he? The size of Mason Wood.
Eyes are darting, but
Thanks, Hayden.
might as well just take the responsibility here from the arc. Back in and back amongst them.
We're not sure what he was looking around at, Brian.
Just to double check that this is mine.
It's a good return. 16 touches off the wing. 9 marks already, so he's been involved in that back half ball movement that we've seen St Kilda do so well today to move the ball effectively through the middle of the ground. A couple of tackles and now a goal. Welcome back.
2 goals to 1 for the quarter then to the Saints' favour. Roos have scored every time they've gone inside 50, but only 1 goal. Mason Wood, Kangaroos fans, saw the talent as a youngster, just couldn't quite keep it together either through injury or form, but he's really thrived with the second opportunity at St Kilda. Found his place as a wingman. Margin back out beyond 5 goals. But it's heading North's way up. The boot of Wardlaw just softened the kick beautifully, and floating back, Simpkin takes the mark within range. Told in no uncertain terms by his teammates to go back and have a shot. Sherry again, who's loves to get a clearance himself. Averages 7 a game, and he's already reached that mark today. Getting it forward. And now it's up to the co-captain. Again, not getting the sort of numbers we've become accustomed to in recent years, but if he kicks straight, it can make a world of difference. Kangaroos are answering the challenges, at least in this third term, and staying in the contest.
It's a really clever bit of play. I mean, he saw that they were going to win the stoppage, and so he just ran forward into space. Started outside the square, but he was going straight in for the bounce, and then realised which way the clearance was going to go, and then backtracked into space. Opponent gets caught ball watching, and the Wardlaw kick was really good.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it, how Clarko manages that wealth of midfielders they have.
Yep.
It's the one area where they've probably got overs, and a lot of young, talented players, and some in the prime of their career who'd love to be playing more than they are.
Hutto, St Kilda have activated their sub. Ryan Burns is onto the ground for his first run, and Angus Hasty is one to give way. He's just completed his 4th game.
There might be, Tom, we see McKercher, Wardlaw and Sheasel in the middle for North for ball-ups when they mature a bit. Secondary stalemate.
And they're probably not easy conversations to have, Bucks, when you've got someone that's always played midfield and you're saying, well, we've got to get some young kids coming through here, and you might have to play some different roles.
Well, and if you've been in the midfield for a long period of time, it's because you've got the skill set to play there. If you're asked to play a different role, you might not actually be suited to it. So that becomes a consideration as well.
Larkey about to kick it where he'd like to be. Curtis, Dersma, front of the pack. He does jump under the ball a bit, Dersma. And Webster, as you can hear.
And Clarko would be happy with North Melbourne's response. He wanted to be more even in the contest. They're only 2 down on clearance. They're only 2 down on contested ball, and they've had twice the number of tackles as St Kilda this quarter already, 15-8.
Coleman, who's one of the options to send forward if they're 4 or 5 goals down with a quarter to play and want to win it. They sent him forward a few weeks ago. Here's Hardiman, gang tackled and a ball up on the wing.
Roll up, Liam. Come up.
Hayes and Larkey, second run ruckman. Larkey prevailed with the tap. Which way's the clearance going? Nowhere yet.
Any chance of that? Pink on in defence and St Kilda forward?
They must have something in the planning, mustn't they, when they're made in the sub, so it sounds like a plausible option for Alistair Clarkson. It's a matter of when. Shields to Larkey, and Battle has...
I think that's where the North Melbourne coaching staff, the dilemma they've got. I mean, Comben, I think, would be awesome in front of the ball to support Larkey, but they've needed him down back. They just haven't had enough guys hold up as key backs.
He's averaging 4 intercept marks a game. Is Conlon just the one so far today? And the cut and thrust of it out there, overwhelmed by the numbers. Wilson again, storming forward. It's well placed for Hill. And another St Kilda goal looming. As good as North and as plucky as they've been at times, they've just struggled in the onslaught when the Saints get their game going. Have we mentioned Darcy Wilson?
Gee, was he involved there, was he?
Bench line there. Yep, right there.
If you keep popping up, we're going to keep calling you.
That's a deal. From the youngest to the most experienced Saint, Brad Hill does it justice. And the smiling Saints eyeing off their 3rd victory of the season. Still a way to go yet, but a very handy 32-point advantage.
Brad Hill's in the middle of a bit of a purple patch as well. Like in the last month, he's averaged almost 30 touches. He's played that high half-forward role. And
do you like? Is that the spot? Do you think?
Well, it's where he cut his teeth before he went to the wing for Hawks. But he can play that role so well. And his standout attribute, his ability to cover the ground all the way up and all the way back.
And that role's never been more prominent or important, has it? It seems.
Well, it plays an important role in defence and roll back to support your back six to help your fat side wingman. But Brad Hill, I think, has been released through the middle of the field, and you can see him get involved in halfback run and bounce. He's enjoying a bit of a renaissance. You know, the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's really jumped into this season.
Larkey takes his own clearance, hands it in Wardlaw's direction, and prepared to just step straight through them to Scott. Gets it back from Stevenson, and a little spear pass cut off by Webster.
That's where the North Melbourne fans are today too. So when he gets possession down in that area of the ground, the decibel levels rise a little more. So he's probably actually enjoying it even more, baby. Probably
is, under the Dermot Brereton theory. Don't rattle the cage. Battle. Thumps it down the line. And good mark by Hayes. He's getting better and better.
Oh, that's 50. And he knew it. The moment he dropped it, he grabbed his head. Jackson Archer, he knew he'd made the mistake and he couldn't take it back. Because if you're holding the ball, you've got to give it to the player. You can't just drop it.
And this is for the biggest margin of the game. And talk about changes that Alistair Clarkson might do. Does he pull a change whilst the game is theoretically still within reach, or does he wait until it blows right out? This to make it 38 points with 1:45 to go. They'll come back a little, but not enough.
Well, that change may be possible now, Dwayno. So Riley Hardiman has given way, so that sub has been activated. Toby Pink will come on, and we expect him to go into defence. So possibly they can move one of those key defenders up forward to try and challenge and find a way to get back into this game for the Kangas.
Just a little thing before you call us. Archer's gone to the bench, and he just hasn't had a lot of support. I mean, he's made a mistake. He knows it. He can tell he's tipping on himself. But I reckon good clubs, good cultures, they'll get around young players and say, look, that doesn't define you, move on to the next. But he's sitting on his own.
He's just down in front of us in his own purgatory.
Clarko was bench coaching a bit last year.
Yeah, well, there's more than Clarko in a club.
Yeah,
so there's plenty that can do it.
Yeah.
Larkey comes up to meet it. With the host of Smalls waiting at the front, Curtis.
But he's only a phone call away.
Thanks, Paul. Tristan.
He's not picking up at the moment.
Right. By design, or?
It can be it's a lonely place when you make a mistake on a footy field.
Wanganeen-Milera eyeing off the short. Sinclair, that might be 50.
Jack.
So Sinclair to take the advance of 50, and all eyes turn to George Wardlaw. Another 50. And Another opportunity in front of the sticks. Sinclair 3 goals, 1 this season. I'd certainly love a couple of Jack Sinclair with what he has to offer. That's his day today. 6 inside 50s, 23 disposals. Equal highest on the ground. You could add 6 clearances to that. I wonder if you can add a goal. You can. And you can do it right now. Game high 39-point advantage. And the Saints are feeling pretty cuddly. Not so the Kangaroos.
Well, it's got to make every post a winner now, St.Kilda as well. Importantly, when you have these wins, if you can make it a percentage booster and you're trying to get yourself back in the mix to be amongst the final 8 come September, percentage plays an important part. There's Toby Pink. Sub is on. Tough one to come on into and have an impact, though, when you're trailing by 40-odd points.
And he was full-back in the Sandford Team of the Year last year, Toby Pink. After 4 years in the footy wilderness, 3 years on the Swans list without a senior game. And they are at breaking strain right now, North. Simpkin out of the middle. Floats one forward. Race on. Drury will get there first. See what friends he's got. Scott. Up against the boundary. Inside kick looks pretty good. Big fist of Wood. Thumped it. The 3 Wood got it all the way outside 50. Fisher back inside. And guess who? In that pocket. In the Webster pocket. In front of the North fans.
Oh, they like the look of that kick because it almost gave the Kangaroos a chance to snatch it back. He gets another possession, Webster. Up to the wing. Core was able to hold King at bay. Sinclair, though, to the big guy's advantage. Steele looks into the 50, kicks it in the direction of Hayes. Can't quite Comben. No whistle, McKercher. Into the hustle and a couple of bounces. Streams out of defence. Skidding kick back to the middle. Shees will handle it well. Scott keeps on coming. Back through McDonald. Davies-Uniacke to Simpkin. And further forward to Sheasel and to Scott. Nifty hands until now. One more from Drury. Zerha. High and straight.
Toby Pink's first touch was good. It was a shoelacer.
Yep.
He was able to take it cleanly and then get it onto Zerha to be able to finish it. And that was an excellent handball chain because St Kilda's pressure was pretty good throughout here. But North were just able to put chains of handballs together. 2, 3. You can see the pressure. Number 4, 5, and this one here. This one here goes to Pink, was able to get it cleanly. So there's 8 handballs in a row before Zerha's finish, which is where North have looked their most effective in their ball use, when they can run and carry and support each other to get through St Kilda's pressure.
And exciting for Pink to have a run forward. He played his first 3 games in defence, and their problem is it's not coming down a lot. 48-26, the inside 50s in favour of the Saints.
Darcy Tucker's the one that's gone off the wing to half-back to allow, Hardiman's come off, and then Pink's gone into the forward mix.
Game high 3 goals now for Cam Zerha.
Simpkin is trying to generate some momentum again. North's way, couldn't quite get away with it. Still in there, he's fighting hard over the top of Hill. Marshall extracts it. Wide ball, bouncing ball. Owens, McKercher, Owens. Good battle, strength from Owens. Brushes him off. Hester, King was a chance. Core's done well, want him like a glove. Fisher back out. Drury manhandled Bonner. About to send it back inside 50. Looks around. Heads short instead of long, and they've got plenty of options running past, and Ross decides to hold it up and now go with a little chip kick. Can we mention this guy enough? Wilson is providing a massive spark and a massive upside in terms of answering the question, where is St Kilda going to improve this year to fight their way up the ladder? Well, if you can pluck a pick 18 out of last year's draft and get a first season out of him like this, then the world changes. Can't nail it on cue.
think what St Kilda have done with their wingmen, I mean, they're big runners, but they've actually encouraged them in the front half to go and cross the centre line. So if you can imagine on the fat side wingmen, they don't stay there. They actually go across and become targets for ball carriers on the other side of the field. And it's caught North Melbourne out 3 or 4 times already today.
So Saints have won all of the quarters so far. 4 goals to 3 in the opening quarter, 4 goals to 1 in the second, and it's 4 goals to 3 in this, the third, with 30 seconds remaining. St Kilda 10-goal-2 from set shots. North 4 goals 1, so no issue there. The fact they've been able to kick the 10 goals show that opportunities that have abounded for their forward 50 players. Eventually the umpire blows the whistle for holding the ball.
No pry there, but I think that's good. They should pay those more.
We'll come back to that in the last quarter, I promise.
That editorial's coming.
No, that's it.
Well, there's only 4 seconds to go, so no time for you to expand. Zaha! Gave us a late thrill. Unfortunately, doesn't drag the mark down, but maybe he's got his eyes on something a little special in the last quarter. Again, though, the Saints able to increase their advantage, and they lead by 34 points at 3/4 time. And who knows what's coming up in the final term. Who knows what we're going to see tonight at the MCG, where all roads lead to on Fox Footy. It's first versus fourth. It's Melbourne versus Geelong.
Three-quarter time on Super Saturday on Fox Footy, your home of footy. And the Saints lead 12-8, 80-7-4-46. If you've joined us late, North Melbourne did lead by 12 points early in the game. Saints led by 6 at quarter time, by 28 at half time, and they currently lead by 34 points with a quarter still to play as we head downstairs to Nick Dalsanto.
Well, you speak about that margin of 34 points, Dwayne, in favour of the Saints, but I want to speak about George Wardlaw, one of the young stars from North Melbourne. The way that he's been going about his football, not only today, but in his first 15 games. I love his relentless effort and his want to compete. So this is coming off the half-back flank, and he's under immense pressure. But what I love about him, he doesn't cough up the football. He doesn't just get tackled and drop the ball. He sticks at it even after a little mistake. He's prepared to get back, put his nose over the football and run forward to provide opportunities for the Kangaroos as they go forward. He's had the 18 disposals, 9 of those contested, and a couple of clearances. He's been significant. There is still a margin that they need to gain, but there's more players like George Wardlaw at the footy club. They are better for it.
Yeah, he's a beauty, Dal. He's a little bit rough and tumble at times, but we love that passage. We love his effort, and he certainly leads by example. So there you can see the ranking points. He's doing very well. Sherry's had a good season in the ruck as well for North Melbourne. Continues to do a terrific job against a quality opponent, Rowan Marshall.
Sherry's had 13 contested possessions to actually lead all comers on the ground. Jack Hayes has had 11, so the big units getting their hands dirty both in the air and on the ground.
Marshall got fingertips to it. Sherry, his 8th clearance, perhaps, if you give it to him. And Wardlaw got the actual kick out of there.
Hi, North Melbourne.
Stevenson storms off with the advantage. Can he utilise it? Pink had the contest, but Wilkie emerged with the football. Long to King. And that time, it's a great take up above his head to outpoint core. In a flash, the hands to Hill, and then to Steele. He was close enough to go for a long shot, but plays the percentages and plays to the advantage of Sinclair, who already has a goal to his name and will have another in a moment.
Sinclair's had 25 touches, and as good as he is as a halfback, all-Australian halfback, when you can get his touches a little bit closer to goal and in and around the ball through the midfield, I think that's going to be advantageous to a St Kilda midfield that's been a bit dour over the last 18 months. He needs to finish these chances just to put the cream on the cake.
10th season with the Saints has really elevated over the last 4 years. As Buck said, now regularly in contention for the All-Australian. He's getting going today. He's kicked his second. And that will make the Saints fans just sit a little comfortable in their seat at the start of the last quarter. Stave off any concerns that maybe the Kangaroos can get going.
Love seeing the contested mark from Max King. You want to see a little bit more of that, don't you? You want him to assert himself physically. He's a big fellow. He's got to start doing some of these things. And all of a sudden, look what it opens up. Then the quick hand pass to Hill. He gets it on. And all of a sudden, they're having a shot for goal. So opportunities for Max King to get a bit more involved in this last quarter. And I think the other one St Kilda would love to see getting involved is Philippou, who's been very quiet today.
Yeah, a bit of second-year blues there. Philippou was very good as a half-forward, looked at as a bit of a midfield depth early this year, but just hasn't been able to come along.
Sinclair fighting the fight. 26 possessions today, 28 last week, and his meter's still running. Out wide, Hill really want to go here. Immediately he does, because he's got the short Windhagen. They want to put North to the sword here, the Saints. They know there's a big percentage boost on offer. Great smother, though. It's been everywhere at Wardlaw. Heart and soul into that again. Sinclair mops it up. Marshall back inside 50. Wide ball. Wilson. Can you believe how much this kid is growing before our eyes?
It's a nightmare matchup. McKercher has him at the moment as a high forward, and he was 70 metres up the ground, and then he was running back towards goal. He's an elite runner. He's going to cause a bit of damage and heartache to his direct opponents.
It's game 8. And he's playing like it's game 80.
He's enjoying himself, a good celebration, and entitled to it. I feel for George Wardlaw, so he creates this great smother. This is brilliant. And then he's following up, and Cam Zerha runs over the footy. So Wardlaw's going in. He goes, all right, well, you grab it. I'll support you. But then Zerha runs over it. The ball comes out the back. St Kilda get another inside 50. And what he's also showing us is his ability to take contested marks, his one-on-one capacity. Darcy Wilson's been very good.
Well, and even the time on the lead when Sinclair took that mark for the last inside 50 for his goal. Darcy Wilson
would have been on the end of it.
Clear, so he's got strings to his bow, which would impress the St Kilda coaching staff. He started as a wingman, playing high forward at the moment. Great position to be in.
There's his day. Of course, there is the link with North Melbourne. His great uncle is the late Premiership Roo, Mick Nolan. Much loved character in the 70s.
Galvin Gasson.
Oh, big collision there. And Wilson's down. So will he get up in a hurry? In the meantime, North go forward. Pink, who's been sent forward. Wilson slowly getting up. The two young guns nearly cut each other in half. Pink with a slip kick inside. Larky dropped it off his chest. That's probably the tale of his day. Battle in the meantime. Archer in a battle with Owens. No free. Ball falls to the back. LDU turns inside. LDU finds Jai Simpkin. Hands back to LDU. Heads back in the Larky direction. Gets through fingertips. Stocker hacks it away. Scott goes and gets it. A bounce kindly. He can flick it back to McDonald. He floats it to the goal square. Pink can go up. No, he can't. It's not quite in his repertoire. He's only played as a defender the last few years. It's a 2-on-1, Scott, part of the 2.
Wilson tried to come off the ground. They were going to check him. This did a quick check down near the bench, and they said, you're okay, sent him straight back on. Didn't even come from the field. And that's a free kick right in front of goal. Much to the chagrin of that man, Dougal Howard, who's taken a host of intercept marks today off the opposition boot, but on this occasion, the free kick is going the way of Nick Larky.
Hasn't been his best day, Nick Larky. We just saw him drop a chest mark. He's got his hands to a couple.
Next back 2 metres.
Went the ground pretty easy there, but you play in front, you get the benefit of those free kicks, and we don't expect him to miss these.
We know what he can do, even when he's not at his best, and that is kick them straight. Nick Larky, so it hasn't been his day, but he converts that opportunity in front of goal. And meantime, that's the hit, body to body.
And the doctor has been out a couple of times. I think that this is when he was coming off. The runner comes out and says, go deep forward, and the doctor's there in the wake. What has probably happened is the doctor's thinking, I'll bring you off now to assess. The coach's box has said, no, you go back out. The doc, you have a look at the vision first, and then you tell us whether you need to assess him, because it looks like it's all body. But that's a little bit of grey area in the protocols at this point.
Well, he's gone to the goal square at the other end. The ball goes forward North's way. Stocker under severe heat from Zerha. Burns flicks it to the outside. Ross had the run of the ball. Just a little hesitation, and then a kick that barely went the required distance, but just enough for Sinclair. Unwilling to move it yet. Waiting till Marshall gets down there to provide a big presence in the pack. Owens flew the pack. Play on the core. Interesting handball from Core. Back to Cherry and Comber. They get it out of there in a hurry. And the mark is dropped by Drury, but kept his wits about him. Linked up with Scott. Another chest mark goes down for North. Zerha turns tackler on Stocker with great relish.
The other thing we can't say about the collision, you'll see replays of it again, it wasn't a deliberate bump by Wardlaw either. He was actually trying to take evasive action, and they both tried to evade each other and went the same way and just ran into each other.
There's going to be contact in this game.
And that was completely incidental.
Gee, the intensity's gone up. It feels like scores are level. Tucker. Dersma. Fisher. Just stopped, propped, pushed the clutch in, found Shields, and he floats it nicely to Paul Curtis. So North haven't been within 4 goals of any team at the final siren this year. They're winless, obviously, but there's a lot to play for with 15 minutes left in this contest. They're 40 points down. This for a second goal in a row. How much has St Kilda got left in the tank? They've talked a lot about their short breaks, their 5-day breaks. Breathe some life back into this. Paul Curtis, 2 in a row to North.
North would be wrapped with that. It's one of the first times they've been able to come through the front of stoppage. St Kilda have evened up the numbers and allowed North to be even numbers in front of the stoppage, but North haven't been able to take advantage of that at all. In this instance, they're actually able to burst out the front of stoppage and then create an overlap. You can see a defender comes forward here for St Kilda, goes over the top, and then they've actually been able to get the extra number to the point where they end up hitting Curtis with this last kick. North haven't been able to get out of stoppage at any point until then, all day, and so therefore the St Kilda tactics have been effective. If there was any contact with the head, it was on the bottom of the chin, but in the end, like, you're going to have hard and solid contacts. That looked like a football action to me, and it actually looked like it was more body. Not surprised at all that Darcy Wilson has been able to dust himself off and continue.
Marshall stayed on his feet and stayed in the play. So King playing in front of Core, who tracks it pretty well. McDonald wrong-sided, gets it back to the wing, but with no direction. Stocker turned his body to protect it, dropped the ball, now Burns under the hammer. Good pressure from the Kangaroos. Trying to up the ante. Pleas are made for holding the ball or incorrect disposal. And they are ignored. Ruckman eventually arrived. The umpire just kindly waiting for them. They plod towards it. Lovely tap from Marshall. Windhager got the full force of the follow-on from the big Ruckman. The big X knocking out the spot right on that city wing. Windhager up against Powell. Marshall leans into the tap, and he, falling, gets the hand pass up. And Ross indulges in a bounce and skips away to full forward, planting his feet. Membry got back to the footy. Can't take the mark. He might get the goal. No, just away to the right.
It's quicker than you think, Seb Ross. He's got a burst when he goes. I just wanted to highlight this. Have a look at this. So Georgie Wardle, he tries to evade it. He starts to run away because he can see it coming. And unfortunately, Wilson goes the same way. So that is completely incidental. That's not a deliberate bump. And it was at the last minute he protects himself, but he was doing everything he could, Wardlaw, to actually avoid running into Wilson.
And Wilson didn't read the bounce either. He almost went past the ball too, because he thought the balls were going to bounce his way. Been bouncing North's way the last couple of minutes. Larkey gave it to Curtis, inside towards Wardlaw, who continues to fight. Dersma, long, inside 50, crunch, tucked away from Drury. Big battle this. Drury fights the fight, 1-on-2. He rolls him in the tackle and holds it in the area. There's some tension in the air at the moment.
Agreed, Dwayne, and it's good footy. It's good to see North respond. Irrelevant of the scoreboard, irrelevant if they're going to win this game or not. If I'm a North supporter, I'm loving what I've seen the last 10 minutes.
That was good stuff from both lads that time. Wardlaw, he wouldn't be rushed. Got it into Sheasel, made the good call. Scott, the entry. Larkey, a big presence. Centrepiece of that attack. And they are rejuvenated here, the Kangaroos. They just need to convert every opportunity. And maybe they can still put the Frighteners up the Saints.
It's a beautiful hit. And he did well again, Wardlaw, to keep it alive. But there's the kick coming in from Scott, which was perfect. We love watching Nick Larkey kick for goal. It's such a simple routine. Everything's straight.
And he never expends any more effort than is required to kick the distance. So this one needs to go 45. He'll kick it about 47 and he'll put it right through the middle. Just like that. And it's inside 5 goals again.
I just love his routine, and it's great when you see it from behind because he runs straight at his target. It is incredibly straight, and his leg goes through the target. And it's such a simple ball drop onto his boot. It's got everything to like about it. You can understand why he's at the top of the tree, and if there's anyone in the competition you want shooting for your life, he's the man you want. It's just simple.
Between 1 and 3 goals each week so far this year. Kicked 3 goals both times these two sides met last year. It hasn't been held goalless since round 4 last year. Nick Larkey.
We spoke about the Saints were up over 200 before. Now they've dropped off and North's picked it up.
St Kilda just the 4 uncontested marks this quarter when they've been idling at a rate a lot greater than that throughout the first 3 quarters.
Pink, the sub, sent into the ruck. Play on, Burns, the other sub. Inside 50, a roller. King, little knock. Takes on Core. Shimmy across the face. Membry got up there. And knocked toward the boundary, and some applause for Comben. He stood his ground there. High praise for Nick Larkey from Jason Dunstall, who kicked 1,254 of them. And Nick Larkey and North Melbourne continue to fight this fight well. Mitch Owen's free. That'll hurt.
Gee, the North players all thought it was going their way. Archer and Membry exchanging a few words.
Yeah, Archer's been caught a couple of times just grabbing on. First game of the season, 9th overall for Jackson Archer, and Mitch Owens scared him into taking hold to push it out to 35 points again. Takes a deep breath in. Can't give his team the breathing space he hoped to. 30 points.
Amazing how that happens when you're having a dirty day, isn't it? It's just not your day. Sometimes you can salvage a day with 2 or 3 straight kicks to have a bit of an impact, but it's just not happening for Mitch Owens.
It gets awkward for Comben. He finds a way out. Out to the back from McKercher as he straddles the line. Larkey's got a feel for the footy all of a sudden. Simpkin, reflex take, reverses out of the pack and does it well. Left foot kick. Hayes gets first look, and so does Battle. And Battle edges back to take the mark for the Saints. Plays it short. That was... They just showed too much of it, all too predictable. Simpkin steps in, takes the intercept mark.
Good to see Simpkin get a couple of touches. He has been quiet today. They're just the 13 for a player who's got far more talent than what he's displaying at the moment. Just been a bit quiet this year.
Banged it up inside 50. Windhager clears it out. Oh, Sherry doesn't finish the mark. So now the ground crew. Simpkin again, well-flighted handball to McKercher, targeting Curtis in the pocket, who's actually taken more marks inside 50 than any other Kangaroo. And he's a little bit of a grumpy Kangaroo there, is Paul Curtis.
Yeah,
it's been a matter of who, not what, then.
Cal, move away. Nothing in it. That's Kristen.
Yeah. PC, not exactly PC there. Ruffling the feathers. He likes to do that. And North know they've got a sneaky chance here. They've got nothing to lose, North. Sheasel just left it behind. Simpkin went in low. Sinclair. Wanganeen-Milera. North with an extra behind, and Owens made it his own. He's got Membry in a 1-on-2. It'll need to be a good kick. Membry against the 2. Fights on. Can he get a toe on it? Bumped by Coleman. There's 3 in the goal square. They could have raffled it, but they rushed it.
But look, it's desperation. He felt he was under pressure, Charlie Coleman, didn't he? But he was desperate just to get that through.
There's no one within the 9 for the opposition.
Great to see players that are too desperate. Like, so, all right for Coleman to be as desperate as he was.
That became a little labour-intensive, flirting with danger. They run the gauntlet through multiple handballs. But eventually they should get out as Sheasel takes the mark, and that's, again, barely the required distance. And that's the kick that breaks it open to Wardlaw in the middle. Eyes darting. He's got Pink stretching out wide. So Pink on his feet. Started as the sub, the regular defender in the front half. Larkey again the target. Howard worked him under the ball. Curtis, rapid-fire tackles from every angle. And the ball up.
The broken play, the more up and back, less controlled style looks to suit North Melbourne. They like the chaos game.
Curtis trying to find a way through the tackle.
It's a great challenge for North with 8.5 minutes left. They've conceded 100 points in every game this year. Can they hold St Kilda goalless over the last 8 minutes and perhaps break that run?
Stevenson back. Oh, what's this? Off ball free, and it's going the way of the Saints. The angst continues around Paul Curtis and Jimmy Webster. It's just really, not that there's really a great place or time to give away a free kick, but when you are attacking, that's probably not it.
Wilkie down the line, and that is a mark. Rather on the second grab. Owens is playing better in this last quarter. He's starting to find it a bit. Ross runs for him. Heads long. Wilson's under it. Big fists come. They'll get a ball in. 8 minutes left. Saints looking for their 3rd victory of the season. Came into this game 14th. Rise up the ladder. And North looking for their 1st win of the year, but it's slipping away that opportunity with each passing second. Sherry, front spot, took it out of the air, as he loves to do. Not a lot to handball to. Garcia can't dribble it back to himself, and we'll get another ball in.
Sherry's had 10 tackles to add to his 15 contested possessions. He's had a real crack and probably been North Melbourne's best performer consistently throughout the early part of this season.
He got the little hands to it, but Ross scooped it up. Sends it goalward. And Cora again able to hold King at bay.
Been one of his best games deep in defence for North. Aidan Claw, I think he's been terrific today.
He's got the job of bringing it back into play. 7.5 left in the final term. Goes for Sherry. Hayes. Yeah, just enough on the push and the follow through extended arms.
No subtlety.
You can get away with a fair bit these days on the push, but when the arms extend, to go your way. A faulty kick. McKercher had all you need, time and space to tidy things up, and just gets the kick to Fisher. Let's see if they can carry it the full way, unimpeded. Dersma's next. This will be a challenging kick. Most of the bases are covered. Sees eyes darting. He goes long. Wardlaw, Sheasel over the pack. Wanganeen-Milera does enough. Zerha, ball at a gate. And Webster stripped of it straight away. Garcia, Ross. Now it's up to the Saints.
Bonner faked. Good fake at that. Not such a good kick. Straight to the best kicker in North Melbourne's team, arguably, McKercher. That's a spear pass. Dersma, who's been getting small possession numbers, but assists have been high, and he finds Larkey on the move to prove the point.
It's like he's flicked the switch a bit too. Larkey's found his touch.
Looks so good on the lead.
And there needs to be a bit of pace on the ball movement to allow that to happen. And Nick Larkey in front of a that faster movement gives him a chance to beat his opponent and find that 2 or 3 metres of separation.
Sets it up, lets it sail, and it doesn't travel through for a score. There's a push free kick. Is it allowed to play on? It is. Burns has it in the back pocket for the Saints.
As they spread to all points.
And have a look how hard the St Kilda defenders work for the ball carrier in this part of the field compared to what North Melbourne defence has. They empty out this space. The midfielders get as forward as they can. The forwards lengthen, and they're happy for their back six to try and move the ball and shift the ball to each other.
Shifts it back out to that City side. Couple of options in the air. Membry, the soundest, takes the mark, swings quickly. Pace on the play. Marshall, Sherry got there a beat too late. Big Rowan Marshall. King waiting for the right time to lead. It's on, but Core again. Timing all out for King. Core's found a way, and he stuck to his method, and it's been a proven one today. As the Kangaroos leg it out of there through Stevenson. And now Pink at full stretch. That's just turns defender there.
Which is his forte, and it's going to be almost transpiring death by time here for North Melbourne. It's taking time off the clock, not necessarily scoring behinds, not the last 3 goals of this game. Sherry, double-handed pat down to the front, but another couple of seconds are chewed up. Big role this year for Sherry. Like Goldstein departing over the summer. It's almost been a win-win. Having a good season. Tristan Cherry, at 25 years of age, at the peak of his powers, and Goldie having a good year too. Simpkin went the kick off the deck, didn't work. Windhager sends it inside 50. Crutch. Players went down left, right and centre. Membry. Steele. Caught. Pushing it back. Wood allowed to play onto advantage. Sinclair might go for home. It's across the face, and this might hit the behind post. No, it just bounces through for another minor score.
He's looking for his third.
You laughed at me, Bucks, when I said 8.5 minutes. They need to keep St Kilda goalless to keep them under 100. They're halfway there.
They're looking to win their 5th quarter for the year as well.
They could do it with 4 points and no goals.
Marshall crashing. Stevenson reluctant to handball. Eventually did to Simpkin, to Larkey. Zerha screaming for it down the line. Pink was the central target. He went for Curtis instead. Had 2 Saints to deal with. One of them the ever popular and the ever combative Jimmy Webster. And the ball moves via Wanganeen-Milera. Through Wood to Marshall.
There is a lot of space in the midfield at the moment.
And a bit of confusion about what was actually paid in the first place, and he's moved on the mark, and he was told to stand, George Warbaugh.
Although they have been a bit more lenient when players go to dummy the hand pass, and he actually ran a couple of metres as though he was going to give the hand pass before it was paid.
It's going to spoil all your hopes and dreams, Jace, for the Roos.
Unless he shanks it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Is that the reverse commentator's curse there? Unless he shanks it.
Yep. No sympathy for the ruckman from the champion full forward.
Marshall's been good again. 17 touches. 8 inside 50s.
He's certainly taking his time over this one. Thorough preparation. And a thoroughly good result. And he bellows out his excitement. The Saints are home. They cracked 100 and they're back on the winners list. They beat Collingwood in round 2 by 15, Richmond by 7 in round 4. This is going to be their most comprehensive win for the season.
So he comes in late, he's told to stand. Yeah, but then watch, he takes a good step and goes to hand pass, and umpires have been a little bit more lenient with movement on the mark when players do that.
There was a change in interpretation.
Yes.
When it first came in, when he ran through the protected area to actually get on the mark. That was being called 50. It's amazing how we knee-jerk at things. I think that's settled a little better, and the player on the stand on the mark and gets called to stand. There's a little bit of leniency now, but there was enough movement there from Wardlaw.
He didn't even stand on the mark. He stood about 3 metres back, not 5.
Needs to be 5, yeah.
Marshall, Sherry, Simpkin in the middle of it, flicked out. Stevenson comes in again. There's a lean day at the office in his return game. Ross caught, but gets it back in the 1-2. Membry. Has he got this in him still? Aging leg. Accuracy's never been his issue. He likes his chances. But maybe some sting out of the game now that they've got the 4 points and they're keeping seconds off the clock. And he pulls the pass late. And with Davies-Uniacke, he's wise to it. He took 30 seconds off the clock at least. To Stevenson, he gets the feel of it.
He's had to travel far and wide to get that feel in the last quarter. Just his 6th disposal into Powell. Comben. Hard running ahead by Drury just to open up the space for Shields on the wing, but Wood was wise to that. Puts the fist into it. No hurry and no issue for Liam Stocker. Takes it over the line and out of bounds. Saints have won the last 4 against North Melbourne. Their last win was back in 2020. They're going to make it 5 in a row here. Double hand tap down. Simpkin getting more opportunity around the footy, but couldn't get the angle he was after on the kick.
Not the required. Wanganeen-Milera told to go. Simpkin put his heart and soul into that. Got the spoil, but it was straight to Sinclair. To Wood, hemmed in. Sinclair's got plenty still in the tank. Flick onto Hill was probably on, but not sure Garcia was aware he was over the back. Been a good crowd in St.Kilda home game here at Marvel between the two co-tenants. Two old school Melbourne-based combatants on a Saturday afternoon. They've given us a show. It's the St Kilda we expected. Finalists last year. Have worn North down, even though North led by 12 points earlier in the game. Tucker bangs it in the Zerha territory. Howard, one of his best games. Wilkie hands it wide. Of course, they're not going that way. Wanganeen-Milera faked to go that way, and now it goes back to Hill. They're part of his grand plan.
They've taken 118 uncontested marks, even though North Melbourne have been able to restrict them in this quarter to 17, but dominant with the ball.
Owens couldn't quite get the avenue to leap up. Hayes feeding it off to Steele and then to Wood. Shields took care of him, and he does win the free for holding the ball. Liam Shields, eyes up, back through the middle. One last attacking thrust. Lucky gets the free. Zerha was trying to take the advantage. Up against the clock here, the Kangaroos. High ball. Dersma gets work done to it, and he thought I might as well go with it and see if I get a free for it. And he will! He will! In front of goal. Against Jimmy Webster. So Zane Dersma on the siren. After a lean month, the Saints are back on the winners list. It's a question of by how much. The talented young Zane Dersma, part of the future force of the Kangaroos. A little untidy off the boot, stays the wrong side of the goal post. So it is the Saints with their 3rd victory of the season. And they get home by 38 points at Marvel Stadium as the Kangaroos remain winners.
The Saints, after 3 disappointing losses, back in the winner's circle. North Melbourne still winless, and 38 points to the Saints. Get their season back on track. Welcome to Super Saturday on Fox, proudly brought to you by the new Kia Sorrento. The guns for hire, the Saturday crew, Jack Rewalt, Eddie